What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to your Casually FC call-in show. I am your host, Marshalldbdx, accompanied by Oliver Twist and Real Chicken Nugget Chris, and today we're just going to have an open platform and open discussion on Enzo MARESCA and all the transfer rumors that have been happening and how we think he's going to build his team, so on and so forth. Don't really have anything prepared. I figured we're just going to freeform this. I'm sure a lot of you guys in the chat have plenty that you want to discuss. Last week when this was all announced, a lot of you guys wanted to have your say. So this is your opportunity to have your say, which is why I have this channel or this segment on my channel. So big up, guys. Big up to Ahmed. I see that you rated earlier when I wasn't here. So it is all good. If you are still here from the Ahmed raid, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe.
We're not raiding after this, man. Yeah, we're not raiding anymore, man. You know what, man? We're not raiding anymore.
What do you mean?
You didn't get a joke. Oh, that's just me, man. Terrible Marshall, man. You know what I mean? He's cooked, man. He's cooked. He's cooked.
You have bang average jokes, bro.
Bang average!
Yeah,
Come on, man. That's a solid 7 joke.
See, exactly, man. You know what I mean? He just didn't get it, you know what I mean? He ain't got that, you know, the juice. You know what I mean? He ain't got the juice.
Anyways, so ladies and gents, we're gonna have an open discussion, open platform, pretty much on the whole Enzo MARESCA ordeal that's been happening. That's not what I said at all. We're gonna have an open platform and discussion on the whole Enzo MARESCA deal. I know some of you guys haven't had really much of a chance in the chat to really speak your truth or speak your mind on this whole situation, how you feel about it. Did we make the right choice? Did we make the wrong choice? How do you feel about the Enzo MARESCA tactics and the manager behind the face? Who's done their research, who's really been doing their homework and really kind of discussing this, and I guess discussing some of the rumors that have been going about how he wants to build his team and the positions we're going for. I know yesterday the big talk of the town was Sanchez, and apparently he wants to keep Sanchez. Now today the big talk of the town is that Elise is very certainly coming in, and that leaves question marks as to what's going to happen to Cole Palmer. Where is he going to move? So on and so forth. But before we continue, I just want to say a very special shout out and a very special welcome to our guest here, which I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, you've seen him make a guest appearance on American Waffle in my absence. So big up to you for making a guest appearance in my absence. But if you haven't seen him already, you have seen him pretty often on Carefree Lewis's channel. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a nice round of applause for our guest today. Joey, what's going on, man?
What's good, brother?
Bro?
We got, man.
Yo, that's a hell of an intro. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, listen, I knew game recognizes game, so like I had to kind of put it out there. So at the end of the day, I'm glad you messaged me. I'm sorry it was so late. Work and all that gets me all caught up, which is half the time, ladies and gents, whenever I'm late, it's usually work related. So I do the best as I can, but I can't always commit to the times that I put out there. But that being said, regardless, Joe, how you doing, brother? How we doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Hey, don't forget to let them know what game it was that I had to replace you for. Don't forget to let them know.
Is it a loss? Is it a big loss of a That's a big loss. 5-0 Arsenal. Is it 5-0 Arsenal that you had to replace him for?
Yeah. It was 5-0 Arsenal.
Don't forget that. Don't forget that.
That was a rough one.
Don't forget that.
Joe didn't have much to say, man. Joe didn't have much to say because it's like, fuck, dude.
Marshall, man, you got him.
It's because this is the thing. Staffy sometimes what he likes to do is he likes to throw shows on me last minute. I can't just plan last minute. I like plan out my weeks, and he was throwing that one on me last minute, and I was like, damn, now it's gonna look like I'm ducking. Oh boy, and I did feel bad whoever had to take over for me. So big up, Joe. I owe you one for that one.
I had to work, guys.
That was a rough one for sure, man. But so Joe, I mean, you're not on the show. Well, this is your first time on the show. I haven't really had much of a chance to have a one-on-one discussion with you. I barely even have time to go and tune into the Carefree Lewis stream, so I don't really know what your view is on everything that's going on right now. Obviously, are you happy with Pochettino being sacked? Are you happy with the replacement? Did you want someone else? How do you feel about the transfers? Give me the whole kit and caboodle, man.
Sure. Well, I guess we could start with Poch. I gave Poch a lot of time and grace. Like, Nah, Staffy, we ain't talking shit about you. We get.
No, I am the Staffy.
Nah, he ain't
Of
even
course you
doing
are.
that.
Just for
So
me, just for
I've
me,
given
just
a
for me.
lot. I've given Potts a lot of grace overall. Like I gave him a lot. I
True.
gave him probably more time than he probably deserved. And
I
like
agree.
I wouldn't have probably been as upset if he didn't get sacked. But I am happy that he was sacked. That's true.
Mhm.
But that's the game that you decided to not show up to. It wasn't on you, Staffy. It was on him not showing up to that one. The one game that he decided to not show up to was that one.
It is what it is.
Anyway,
Yeah, so you're happy that he got sacked.
yeah, I'm happy he got sacked.
Parted
Enzo
ways mutually,
Maresca-
whatever you want to believe. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you want to say. Enzo Maresca is kind of like wasn't my first option. I would say I wasn't really happy about it at first, but I've warmed up to it as time kind of came along. And really like I'm just ready for to see how this transfer window goes. Like I'm very like sit back and wait before I like give too much negativity out there. Like I'm a very positive person. I just stay positive overall, just naturally. But this Potts made me extremely negative during the beginning of the season, and like I'm gonna stay positive until Enzo proves me otherwise. So that's just pretty much the kit and caboodle. I'm not happy with Sesko, and I'm happy that Gallagher and Chalba actually are going. Both of them.
So you're actually happy Chalba's going. Why is that?
I'm happy because no matter how, if he stays or goes, there's going to be a group of the fan base that's going to complain about it. So just let people complain about it. That's why I'm just ready for him to go. I'm just over it. Like there's too many complainers in this fan base, just overall complaining about everything. So like I just like to kind of sit back and watch everybody complain, and then give them reasons why. Give them like the other side of the coin. A lot of the times, I'm giving the other side of the coin. Like why would you want this guy over this guy kind of idea? Like I watch a lot of football. Period. Like I watch a lot of Bundesliga because I have ESPN Plus, and I'd rather just watch Bundesliga in the afternoons. So that's me. I'm out in Arizona, by the way. I used to live in New York, so that's just a bit about me.
Nice. Well, I guess, I mean, you're right, and maybe it's an American thing. Maybe it's just this panel or this channel and what it attracts, but like I feel like I try to be the same way when it comes to Chelsea. Like I try not to get all up in my emotions and all ruffled up in my feathers when shit goes down, because at the end of the day it's like, why am I going to get upset about someone I know absolutely fucking nothing about? And I'm looking at the way football is moving right now and all these managers that are succeeding in all multiple clubs that no one expected them to succeed in, and I'm thinking, well, we could just be another one of those clubs and it could work out. Like you look at Arteta, you look at, I mean, people don't like it when I put an example of Ange Postecoglou there, but at the end of the day, people weren't giving Ange Postecoglou credit for what he was doing at Celtic and in Japan.
The way I look at it is this too, right? Like here's a great way of looking at Enzo. Someone put this in front of me and I was looking like, that's actually a good point. Is it harder to win the championship or is it harder to win Eredivisie? Like Netherlands is competition.
Yeah,
I would say with the Leicester team, I think it's still like from the get go a lot easier because Leicester team was probably most likely the
take it out of there. That's irrelevant.
I think the championship is normally harder to win.
In Eredivisie, there's always a team that has a team that's just overall better than the other teams. Just like there's always someone who runs
Ajax.
away with the league.
Yeah,
not just Ajax.
But I mean, over the last like 10, 15 years, I think it's been Ajax mainly, right?
Mostly.
No,
yeah, mostly.
PSV and Dobin's in there too.
Yeah,
mostly. But like I'm putting it in a perspective of like Liverpool just went and got Slot, who the only thing that he's ever done was win Eredivisie once.
Yeah.
So like, what's harder? Championship or Eredivisie? And that's a reasonable discussion to have. It's not like necessarily one's totally better than the other. So like, then you have you have that problem of actually saying, hey, this guy might actually be all right.
Yeah, and that's where I'm getting at, right? Like, it's like, yeah, I know at the end of the day it is hope, call it what you will, but like it's
hope.
I feel like sure. I have been relaxing a little bit on my criticism of the recruitment team, because I feel like one problem that happened with me is that I got too caught up in what people were saying about, 5 managers that have been sacked and all this stuff. Look at all these shit players and all that stuff. And then like this whole MARESCA thing happened, and I kind of took a step back and I was like, hold on a second. They never hired Potter. Bruno was an interim. Lampard was an interim. So their first real recruitment was, in terms of manager, was Pochettino. Mm-hmm. And did Pochettino really fail? Like,
well, he made it a whole season. It wasn't like we sacked him midway through either.
Yeah, he made it a whole entire season. And not only did he make it a whole season, at the end of the day, and I hate to pin it down to this because it misses so much context, but if you are a data-driven company, right? If you're a data-driven ownership, if you look at the data, he put us in a position to be back in Europe. So we technically improved from 12th last season to 6th. Now, people, before everyone starts losing their shit, I'm not saying that's good enough. Obviously, that's not good enough for Chelsea. We're used to top 4. We should be competing for the league at this point. Like, we haven't competed.
I wouldn't say at this point.
But no. I'm just looking at terms of like, since Conte, we're 7 years since that happened. Surely in those 7 years, we should have been, challenging for the title. We haven't. Obviously,
without context. Without context.
Yeah, exactly. Without context, you look at it and we haven't challenged for the title. So, when you put the context into it, it all makes more sense. And I've been a little bit more lax in the recruitment because now I also look at it, okay, it's not their fault that Brighton put such a ridiculous price tag on Enzo, or no, not Enzo, but it's Caicedo. Not their fault that there's such a ridiculous price for, Enzo. But at the end of the day, like, it is their fault that maybe they didn't get it for cheaper than they should have. It is their fault that, maybe they didn't do the proper homework when it comes to Poch and getting him players, or actually getting the right manager to suit a team that needs to be built from the ground up, right? And so, like, I give criticism where the criticism is due, but I feel like the Chelsea fan base, like you were saying, it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. Like, there's nothing good that they can do, and I try to, like, kind of just reel it back a bit and kind of just...
It is a bit of an American thing, though, too, bro, because, like, we see teams be bought. We see teams are bought all the time. Like, teams are bought in different areas. And you never see a team who's just bought, who's recently bought by a new owner win anything. Like,
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, you end up seeing someone when a new owner comes in, it takes some time for that team to actually rebuild to what they want to be. It always happens that way. No franchise ever has just bought a new owner, bought the team, instantly won that year. Never happened. And there's a reason that's the case. There's a reason.
Anyone disagree with that, or anyone have any thoughts they want to add on to the discussion?
I think in terms of directing the football, I've said it before. In terms of transfers, currently, I'm not really that much of a hater in regards to that. I don't really mind a lot of the transfers they made. I'm probably one of the more proponents for a lot of the transfers happening, to be honest. I just think the Poch appointment, you're just looking back at it now and what's happened, it just makes me question, like, a lot of this stuff about Poch is well known, the research. That one for me, man, the math is not mathing on that one. You see what I'm saying to you? Like, that one is the one I look at.
I can kind of put the math together if you'd like, but...
Over it, Joe.
But it's just that one basically in particular that's the one that annoys me. If that makes sense, that's the one that annoys me.
Made sense, though, Ahmed.
Because
at one point it did make sense, just because of like the way he's always built his teams was with young players. And he has a successful record of building with young players. Even though like now we're looking for more with something with a system, like
what
more system played. Poch never had that.
For me, it was more so hindsight. You know what I'm saying to you? Because I don't know what he gave them, which was going to be his plan for Enzo. Because like obviously, when you look at stuff they're releasing now,
That's
it's like
Probably lied.
So for me, it's just like that. And then there's other things like obviously he may have changed his mind obviously afterwards, and it's just like what happened then. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But listen, man, we move in it. So
let me entertain you with a conspiracy theory, okay? This is my conspiracy theory.
You get tinfoil hat for that.
And I do need to get a tinfoil hat for this, but also
I just want to say some breaking news actually came out quickly.
Real quick, hold on to that. I'm going to say this, and mind you, everyone listening right now, understand I do have a Pochettino bias. I never wanted this manager. I never really liked him. I was open to giving him a shot.
Bro, me too.
Honestly, man, I forgot.
I hope you are joking. I hope you are joking right now, Chris. You've known me for fucking 3 years, and you don't.
I know you wanted him out for very early in the season. I just don't remember at the start. That's all.
I mean, to be honest, you got quite a few agendas in it, so like it's hard.
Yeah, you got more than Ahmed.
You got more than me. I already got 2 agendas, man. I'm gonna go
Right, name my agendas. Name my agendas.
You know what I mean? See, it's
Your
still
agenda
hard.
was Fofana's going to play last season.
Where do I start, bro?
It's not really an agenda. Start by one.
Okay, Ziyech agenda, Kai Havertz agenda.
Ziyech agenda.
Havertz agenda. He's the, you had a semi-Sterling agenda early in the season when I was criticizing him.
You had a Sterling agenda.
I did not have a Sterling agenda. Well, to be fair, I never really liked the guy, but I was like, okay.
He's another guy that you had. You have a Gallagher agenda. I know that for sure.
Who?
Yeah, he does.
Gallagher.
You don't.
It just sounds like he doesn't like
Levi Cole.
Levi Cole was
making
up shit now. You were just waffling now. Nah, you were just waffling, bro.
I can't.
I never said that.
Chris, back me. So Levi Cole, I know you had.
No, Chris isn't a liar. Exactly.
Yes.
Chris isn't a liar.
I don't remember mentioning Cole like
Levi
that.
Cole. I remember Levi Cole.
Oh no, he has a Brozier agenda. He thought he's the next Jay Costa. I know that.
I didn't say that either.
Oh my goodness me.
All right. Anyways, going back to my conspiracy theory, right? So I genuinely did have a Pochettino agenda, okay? But I was willing to give it a shot because he was now the manager of my club, right? And I always want my club to succeed. I don't give a fuck how they do it. I want my club to succeed. I want them to win. I want them to, I don't care. So this is what I think, and take it with a pinch of salt. I have a feeling that Pochettino came in, told the recruitment team and the directors, hey, I can do this style of football you want to do, yada, yada, yada. I'm the manager for you. He gets hired, right? So once he gets hired, he gets into the job, does the preseason. We see what we see in preseason, and then he decides to scrap it, right? Because he's like, you know what? Fuck that shit. I'm in the job now. Now I want to play the way I want to play. And I'm going to try to shoehorn this. I'm going to try to shoehorn Gallagher. I like players like Gallagher. If I persist with this enough and it gets me results, I'll be able to keep Gallagher, even though I know these guys don't want to keep him. Right? I'm going to be able to make an argument at the end of the season for why I need players like Gallagher, like whatever, all the links that he had. He then forces Enzo, because they want Enzo to play in the team. He then forces Enzo, shoehorns him into H lineup, forces him to play with injury despite knowing he has an injury until the very last moment where he's like, you know what? If I take Enzo out and say he's got the injury and tell him to get his surgery, I can save the season, save my job, and I can show people that Enzo was the one that was holding me back the whole time. I don't know. That's my conspiracy theory. Is Poch that clever? Maybe not, but I'm just saying.
I don't know about all that. I just think that he didn't know what he was doing with. He didn't know what he was doing with Enzo. He just had no idea what to do with the guy.
But doesn't it bother you, Joe?
The only thing he knows is freaking run and gun football, bro. It's run and gun football. Like that's all they can do. That's all he knew what to do. Like getting these guys up and down the pitch as quickly as possible, run and gun football. Like that's what it was.
I think
the most entertaining games. Like if you go look at the Premier League's most entertaining games,
it's definitely Chelsea. It's Chelsea easily.
4 out of the top 10 are Chelsea games. 4 out of the top 10.
We were the most entertaining team in the season. 100% we were the most entertaining team this season because you never knew with us. You never knew with us. We kept you on the edge of your seat every time.
Yeah,
but
and that's not a good thing either. Like,
yeah,
we're not saying that's a good thing.
No,
like,
no, of course.
Like, a lot of it was like us sitting on the edge of our seats hoping a free kick wouldn't go in from a header. Like,
but here's the thing that baffles me, which is why I think the way I think about Poch. I just can't in my head wrap my head around or fathom in what world do you think you who's had experience in football for how many years think that Enzo has a hernia. So instead of giving him the month and a half off to get surgery, while you still had players like Uguchukwu, like you still had players like Gallagher or people that can actually do a shift.
You know what it was, bro? Is he had?
I just don't get how you force him to play.
He didn't have Lavia, so he was forcing him in. He was like, "Oh, I still have this guy, so I'm gonna keep playing him." Like like you saw, he tried to get in Lavia as soon as he could. Like if you didn't notice, like he tried to get Lavia as soon as he could, and then as soon as he got injured again, you just saw Enzo every game again. Enzo every game again. Enzo for 90 minutes sometimes. Like if he has a hernia, he should be playing for 90 minutes. Period. Like
100%. No, it baffles me that he was playing nearly as much as games as he was playing. But Hassan, what's going on, man? Long time no speak. Before I go ahead and start letting people in from the audience, I would like to hear your thoughts on everything that's been going on since, the sacking of Poch. The obviously, don't drag it out too long, but overall thoughts on, Enzo Maresca coming in, Pochettino leaving, and maybe even the transfer targets.
I mean, it's a long time no see, lads. It's good to see some of you again, and it's good to be back on the show. But yeah, I mean, with the whole Poch sacking, let's be honest, I think the owners, with how everything was going and with the targets, the constant change of targets, the in-season demands, in a sense, he was inevitably going to go. So yeah, I mean, it was just a matter of fact of who was coming in instead of Poch. Enzo Maresca, like, let's be honest, the only people that probably watched him are people who are interested in championship and stuff like that. Like, he's just one of them, like, up and coming next name sort of managers. But like, in my opinion, I don't agree with it. But what can I do? I'm not the owners. I'm not the model. I'm not doing the data and analytics. So we're just gonna have to get behind it, whether we like it or not. He's a Chelsea manager now, so we're just gonna have to back him and just wait and see what will happen with him. With how everything went and with how like all the players and stuff and the decision making of Poch, sometimes managers just don't rate other players. It's just how it is. Like, we only see, whether we like it or not, we only see like 20% of what happens at the club, which is on match day. The other 80%.
Cam can't even get into the England team. Your Cam can't even get into the England team. You're not even good. He's not even good enough for Gareth Southgate. He can hold that big man.
Yeah, but as I was saying, right, like, we only see like 20%, which is the match day. The other 80% Poch sees. Like, I don't want to defend Poch or anything. Like, his decision making and his in-game substitutions has been a bit iffy at times, and it's been questionable over the seasons. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what to say with that. Like, whatever, I felt like, to be honest, Poch was going to go either way. I think we all agreed on that. It's just whoever was trying to get in. But yeah, with the whole Enzo
as a manager, who would he wanted as a manager?
I don't even know that. Like, when I was seeing the list and replacements, I was just saying, just keep Poch until a proven or top manager somehow pops in the market.
I'm giving you I'm actually just giving you a regular hypothetical. If you could bring in the guy that's going to be the next CFC manager, who would it be for you? That's what I'm asking.
Well, like anyone, like
anyone, bro. That's why I'm asking. That's why. Who would you ever like to be the manager?
I just probably would have thought either Flick, or if they're going for the young up and coming manager that's like a bit of a hipster, or I mean, the model that we're doing right now, Xabi Alonso would be perfect for it, but we're doing an alternative, which is Enzo Maresca. So it's between, like, if we're going for a young and up and coming manager, the only manager I would probably take out of the whole list would have been ideal, would have been Xabi Alonso. But the top managers that are available is Flick, I don't know about Mourinho. I'm in and out with him, but like it is what it is. He's gone now, so he's gone to Fenerbahce. So I just wanted someone that's top and proven, because like I'm kind of done with the whole like unknown manager and just
Allegri then. If you
works
want
out.
a proven guy, I would have said Allegri. Allegri's available. He's proven.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I mean,
Why you want that around football at our club?
No. I'm just saying, you know, the argument, whenever I hear people say, I want proven guys, obviously, listen, Allegri's available too. He's proven defensively, Conte plus. If people want him too, he's available too.
Conte plus.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is like, as long as it fits the model, why not? But but the model that they're after is younger and upcoming, so like I can't do anything whether I agree with it or not. He's gone, and I don't know really what to say about the players. The players are just gonna have to prove themselves with other managers. I just think they're just as fraudulent as Poch. After that League Cup final, like all of them can be questioned whether they're good enough or not. So I guess we're gonna have to see next season.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Gaming for Life, what's going on, man? Welcome to the channel. I saw you're promoting and helping hit the like switch. By the way, ladies and gents, if you haven't listened to him already, smash those likes and subscribe to the channel. Helps out tremendously. Big up to you, my friend. But your thoughts on everything, man, that's been going on since last time we really did this.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, big up to you for letting me on, and big up Joey as always.
Big up, my guy. How we doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. And with this Poch thing, listen, regardless, he had to go. There's no question about that. He had to go regardless. If he got us top 4 and won us the Carabao Cup, there would be no discussions about him of getting sacked and getting rid of him. But he didn't achieve them targets. He had to go regardless. And I wasn't getting hyped up about those 5 games. Like, congratulations, but I wanted more. Regardless, I wanted to go on this Enzo thing. I wanted more of a De Zerbi or an Amaran or maybe a Flick, but we have to see what Enzo does, really. We have to see.
This guy. Real quick, I'll come right back to you, Gaming for Life. Das, I know you're at work. I know you got 5 minutes. I'm sure you have stuff on your chest you just want to say
This
with
guy's on
your
the beach.
sticky Giants hat, bro. This guy's in California. It's a whole state of beach.
Listen, I didn't want to do my hair today, so I had to just wear a hat, you know.
Fair enough. I mean, me too, to be honest. Yeah, I get you.
No. I'm not here to talk shit. I'm not here to talk shit. I mean, I think the shit talking
Time will tell.
I think it just manifests itself with the style of play. But no, I actually don't think that you guys are. I don't really think that you guys are that far off. I mean, to be 100% honest with you, because there were a lot of times during the season where I saw Chelsea as the better team during spells of the game. And if they were capable of putting the ball in the back of the net, the game would have been finished before it came to the penultimate moment in which you guys failed, right? So it's not like you were really that far off ever. It's just that I think that frustration built into your team when things didn't go right. There was a weak mentality there, whether or not it was the coach or it was the players. It doesn't really matter because the end result is the same. And if you guys were just able to carry on, continuing to do what you were doing in that game without getting frustrated, you would have had your moment. So to me, it's like Chelsea's really they need a real consistent goal scorer, someone in the 9 position who's going to put the ball in the back of the net when the chances come. Because you guys created a lot of chances, especially in the first 6 months of the season. I think you guys had the most chances created right alongside us, Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to like the first
chances created,
months. Yeah, so it's not like you weren't doing anything. It's not like you were even playing bad, because if you were playing bad, you wouldn't be even close to the number 1 spot in chances creation. It's just the fact that you weren't getting it over the line. And I think that getting a proper number 9 in there I know that you guys don't like Mudryk. I know that you have your like you don't like it when Chilwell plays the wing, whatever, blah blah blah. I get that. I have the same thing. I've got the same exact thing in my team. And I also have the same exact problem. I don't have the cutting-edge goal scorer, but I was right up there with the most chances created, especially towards the end of the season when I'm losing to teams like United and Crystal Palace, and I created a billion fucking chances all of those games. So if you're able to answer that question, get the goal scorer, I think everything else will sort of figure itself out, because you won't have those giant frustration spells that then lead to mistakes at the back. Because another big thing that I saw from Chelsea is just awful build-up from the back, which I think is only awful because of the frustration that you had at the front of the park, if that makes sense, right? Like you get frustrated, everything else starts to crumble down. Now all of a sudden the frustration is leaked into the back, and then the whole team looks like shit. It all started from the fact that you were playing well and you couldn't get it done, and then frustration creeps in, and then everyone else starts to play poorly. So if you get someone in there, if you get someone in there that you can rely on, I'm not saying it needs to be fucking Erling Haaland, but it just can't be Nicholas Jackson. You know what I mean? Like, you need someone in there who's like a Diogo Jota, who's just a cutting edge finisher who will get the job done. And if you take those chances in the first half, the second half looks different, and you probably don't drop silly points because, I mean, you're in Conference League, and in a parallel universe where you guys scored your chances in the first half of the season, you could have potentially been, Europa League or even top 4. Like, it really isn't that far out of the question. I know that everyone likes to harp on you guys because that's just banter and that's just, the dynamic of having friends, but you're not that far off. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's that crazy to say that you aren't that far off, because it's really just one major problem: finishing. That's it. And like, finishing will solve all of these other problems on the pitch, because you won't be frustrated if you're up 1-0 up. If you're 1-0 up in the 50th minute, like, you won't start to see these cracks in the whole team, and it'll just lead to better overall performances. And I think that you guys create a lot, and I think that you're very young, but I also think that this is like the most important season in your club's history, because if things don't go well and everyone's value continues to drop, then you're going to have a loss on every single person that you bought, which means that your entire club is in the red, which means that if you get into Europe, you're financially screwed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know that was all a ramble, but I don't
Mike Doss holds court, man.
I think everything other than the last part about the value, you're spot on about. Pretty much everything other than the value specifically, because I don't think with young players it's a little bit different. Like, when the value doesn't decrease as much when you're talking about young players, especially if they're not playing as well. And that's because that's how we can get money for a player like Kai Havertz. 70 million, 65 million for Kai Havertz, because he's still young and still has technically that potential to be able to be something. Oh, my bad. But the big thing outside of that is that just the run and gun aspect of the way that we were playing before put a lot of pressure on specifically the two center backs covering wide spaces a lot of the times. And once we switched it a bit and we had that inverted fullback come in, then it became more of a 3 in the back situation. It helped us a ton. It's not necessarily the goals. People are talking about how many goals we scored, but early in the season, like he said, like that first 6 months, Cole Palmer didn't really start kicking off until midway through November, December timeframe. So he's right, but also has to be put into consideration the way that we were playing exposed us to a lot of these goals. The way that Poch had us up playing, where we were exposed to these goals, very much the way that a Klopp team would be exposed, but with Klopp you have Alisson and Van Dijk to cover those big things that may expose you, where we didn't have either of those type of players to be able to help us defend those type of scenarios on the break. That's just the difference.
But the last thing I'll say, because I see people in your comments talking about how many goals you scored and the awful defending, I think that it, at least to me, Chelsea, it was just very inconsistent. So you can't really look at the number of goals that you guys scored. I think it has to do with more along the lines of how you guys were playing throughout the different spells of the season. And I mean, whether or not it's style of play, whether or not it's a striker, I think that a lot of the poor defending comes from frustration. I don't think it's that your players are terrible. I think it's that the style of play is leading to frustration, and then that leaks to the rest of the team. It's the same problem that Liverpool had. When you create all these chances and you don't score, players get frustrated. When players get frustrated, they lose their edge. When they lose their edge, they're unfocused. When they're unfocused, they make mistakes. They make mistakes in the midfield, and then those transitions turned into easy goals for the opposition. Whether or not you have Virgil or Alisson, it doesn't change the fact that I can't win against Arsenal if Konate is defending Martinelli, Martin Odegaard, and Kai Havertz at the same time. And you can kind of say the same about Chelsea, right? I think that a lot of it comes down
very much so, yeah.
And you know, a different style of play will probably shore up the defense a little bit, but getting someone in there who will finish those chances, who will put you 1-0 up, will also seal up the frustrations in the defense, because now you're leading the game, you're playing with more confidence, and it affects the whole team. I'm a big believer in the front of the line is the beginning of the defense, and that's why Liverpool were so good in from 2017 to 2020, was because those guys put away chances, and then those guys came back and they worked on defense. But they trusted themselves to come back on defense because they knew that no matter what, they were scoring, right? So it's like the same sort of philosophy. If your front line is really good, it will leak down to everyone else. You won't get frustrated. You'll know that you can score, and you'll be better in games. Like, I mean, you finished, what, 6th place?
Yeah, 5 off 4th. That's what you see, Mike. Like that difference, that 5 off 4th, is the difference of having a top quality keeper and a better, and at least one like high quality defender can be the difference of 4 to 5 points. You know what I'm saying?
Joe, that's exactly what I was going to actually ask Mike, right? Because I get what you're saying, and I feel like Liverpool for these past few years, and listen, if you got to go, just let me know. Obviously, you don't have to answer this question, but
I've got a little bit of time.
But Mike, what I was going to ask you is that the way I feel like the way Liverpool has always structured themselves is that their best defense is their offense, right? You always had great attack between Mane, Roberto Firmino, Salah. You guys had a phenomenal attack, and that's how you would win games. You just take it from the scruff of the neck. But wouldn't you say that once you solidified your defense in the transfers of Van Dijk and Alisson is when you guys actually started to go Champions League and win the Premier League? Isn't that what made the difference for you?
Listen, we Alisson is what got us over the line in the Champions League final, because we made it to the Champions League final with Karius, and I believe that was the season.
And he blew it.
Yeah. I mean, that was a complete individual error by him. I mean, I definitely think that, like, I wouldn't say that Disasi is the center back to build on in the future.
No,
I also wouldn't.
Yeah, he never should have been. Yeah.
I also wouldn't say, like, you know, listen, Reece James is an excellent footballer, but availability is the best ability, and if the guy can't stay healthy for a full season, I'm not sure if that's the best guy to build your back line around either.
Oh, look who shows up as soon as
Don't worry, man. Good donation, man. We out here, man. Good donation.
This guy is the biggest troll of Reece James ever. So you say that name, he pops up like
Prime. Oh my
Beetlejuice, bro.
Listen, but also Petrovic. Like, I think that Petrovic is a very solid keeper. I think there were plenty of games this season where Petrovic kept him, or you know, he saved a draw. You know what I mean? Or he saved a humiliating loss from being even more humiliating. So I think that
he was the reason we got to the Carabao Cup final as well.
Yeah. He's fine, but I mean, yeah, listen, like, obviously,
but we didn't play him until halfway through the season. You see what we're saying here?
Yes.
So that's kind of like been the overarching point behind all of this. Is just a lot of, like, with specifically Pochettino was just too late. Everything he did was too late. The switch of the keeper, too late. To go back to that midfield, to go back to the style of play that he had in the last 5 games, too late. Like, it's everything he was doing is just, yes, you did it, good job, but way too late. Like, we ended up with not the European competition we wanted because he sat on his hands.
I'm going 5 points or 4th.
Well, but hold on, just to kind of go back to Marshall's question. Marshall, you asked about adding Virgil and you asked about adding Alisson.
Pretty much solidifying your defense is what I was going on. Yeah.
But hold on. If you want to look at it in terms of phase wise, we didn't have Alisson. I'm sorry, we didn't have Virgil, right? We got Virgil. All of a sudden, the defense was better. We made it to the Champions League final. Then we realized we needed to go out there and get a goalie, right? But you guys aren't on the step of realizing that you need to go get a goalie. Does that kind of make sense? Right now, you're in this. Right now,
you are kind of
okay.
We're kind of in that between phase. Depends
on what you think. It depends on what we get at striker, right? It depends on if we're going to get, like, actually the guy that we actually need at striker, or if we're going to go get someone to, like, compete with Jackson in the end.
I think you should get a defender. 100%. You should go out there. You should get a solid center back.
Big up, Mike.
We've already got a defender.
What is the point? Sorry,
I just want to say,
Mike. What is the point you're making overall? May I ask?
No, just to summarize it real quick, because I know Mike is on limited time. He's just saying that overall this season, if we had better attack and we finished our chances, our season would have been a lot better than how it ended up now.
Well,
I agree.
Really,
I agree.
Go ahead.
However,
let Mike. Let Das go. Let Das go. Go ahead.
The more deeper aspect of it was more along the line. I'm not saying that you needed to go out there and score 150 goals. What I'm saying is that in the games where you had poor performances or poor results, right? If you had a better attack, the team would have been more confident. You would have scored those chances early, especially in the first half of the season. You would have put those chances away. You would have put those games to bed, and everyone else would have been more confident. It's the same. It's the opposite of the problem that Liverpool had at the end of the season, where we weren't scoring goals. So the frustration from the front leaked to everyone, and then the whole team looked like shit. Even though we were creating chance after chance, if you create 15 chances in front of goal, and by the 80th minute you haven't scored, like, you're going to start to get frustrated. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to force things, and then you're going to lose 2-0 to fucking Crystal Palace, or you're going to lose to Manchester United in the FA Cup.
I get what you're saying, but the reason why I disagree is because we would have just masked how bad we've been this season. A prime example I'll give is the Nottingham Forest game, our second last game of the season. Without Reece coming off the bench, who's been injured for basically the whole season for us, we end up drawing that game. If we had Reece or Nkuku fit more, we would have turned draws in the wings. But that would have just masked how bad we've been. That would have just masked how bad we've been under Poch. There's a lot of games where we've been outclassed, but we've just been able to get away with it because of quality. If we have more quality, it means we're getting away with more games. But that's not a good thing, though. At least with Klopp, you actually have a quality manager. We don't have. We didn't have that with Poch.
Well, we can. Klopp is strong in his ways and he's weak in others. And whoever you guys. I mean, I know that you brought in the MARESCA guy. I wasn't the biggest. I wasn't so against Pochettino, but at the same time, I think that just frustration is the biggest problem in Chelsea, and I think that leaks everywhere. You can solidify the back line with another center back. You can stop putting Chilwell at left wing. But I think that, if you build from the front, you get a good center back, you get a good 9. That'll change a lot. It'll make the whole team look much different. It'll make you more confident, especially if you start scoring goals early in the season, even if you don't get the results.
That's what I was gonna say. I think results. I think results are what we need. I think early results in this season is going to be extremely.
That's
important.
what matters.
Extremely important. Early results.
I would also add. I think last season in particular, Jackson was literally just our only striker. Literally, and I feel like there was just so much pressure put on a guy who bought for £30 million with very limited football experience to be able to.
It was only his second professional season,
which is like
crazy.
this is this. And at the end of the day, yes, we need to get another striker, in my opinion, of course, to compete with him and to. But I just felt that was obviously a mistake, and I think I could also add the wingers that we also had, who maybe could have, maybe helped in carrying the goal scoring load, didn't, I think, necessarily do that too. So like, even if our striker wasn't maybe getting the goal on that day, well, our wingers weren't necessarily also helping us out either, in that sense. So
which winners? Name names. Yeah. Which winners? Name names.
Sterling. You know who I mean? Sterling, I think, is a prime example of that. Mudryk at times. Mudryk at times, of course. Madueke, the only reason I can give Madueke a pass is because of the barely amount of time he's actually played for us this season.
He should have got more game time, though. He would have proved himself more.
Mm-hmm. You should just stick Reece James at wing so that he doesn't run so damn much.
Oh yeah, I saw that P. Robinson can be.
Hey, Mike, let's not get into that conversation with Reece.
I just want to say,
I was waiting for Brian to say something.
I'm very anti-Reece James.
These guys.
Listen, Darian, man. Listen, Mike. I'm with you, brother. Gusto Nation around here, bro.
Availability trumps everything. And if you can only play 8 games a season, why?
I've already got my right back replacement for Reece James already, man.
But Mike, when I say it,
right there.
But Mike,
Gusto and my number 2 already. Dallo Nation, my backup for him.
No, because you say he's a fat slob and shit. That's why, Prime. Mike's at least being me at least.
Go ahead.
I actually think it's I think it's just the way he's built. I genuinely think it's like the way that he runs and like his knees. I think it's like an actual physical, like geometric. Like there's players who are injury prone because of the way that their weight is distributed based on the angle of their knees. Like if you want to get like physical therapy wise, like Trent Alexander, his knees, they're like extroverted. I don't know if you've ever seen him stand up straight, but like his calves go like out to in, and his knees are like that's what you want. That's the kind of player who has a stable base, not going to have leg injury.
Cool. He was out this year. He was out this year, though, Mike.
But problems in my middles, man. I'm loving it. You know what I mean?
Hey, Mike, all of that is spot on, bro. You're cooking. But when I say it, I get abused. But whatever.
Well, I'm not.
You know what? When I say it,
you're a Chelsea fan. He's a rival fan.
You know, when I tell people I want a right back cover this season for Reece James, I get cooked.
Because you say Gallo. What are we doing right now?
Hold on.
Thank you. Someone saying
Ahmed. This is why the reason why you're not part of Ahmed. The reason why you're not part of the Dallo Nation or the Gusto Nation is because you want to get rid of Reece James and bring in Dallo. You're not part of us.
But he's going to be my right back cover. I don't want him to start over me. I just need Gusto. I just want Gusto to be my backup option.
Why don't we just use a youth?
Why would you get Dallo? Go get Frimpong.
You can't have two short guys there.
No,
you know what I mean? You need to have some level of height.
Frimpong can do everything that Reece James does in the attacking end.
Ahmed, if you would have said Frimpong, it would have been like, oh, yeah, that's a good argument. You don't. You take Dallo.
Do you know why I say that? It's because I'm trying to give Reece James one more season. Essentially, I'm giving him this season. If he can't play 5 games in a row, then you know
it's people like
he's done.
It's people like you that make us. Ahmed, it's people like you that make us lose credibility, man.
Oh, get out of here, Prime, man.
Do we take Maxim back? That's the question.
He has to choose us.
Listen, I want Maxim to stay.
Listen, Poch said he was too small to play at left back.
That's Poch, he's an idiot.
Yeah. There we go.
Poch wouldn't like me playing football, man. He doesn't like 5'10" guys, you know what I mean? He might be telling me,
hey,
you're not tall enough to be my striker. You know what I mean?
That's Gallagher's boyfriend right there.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you guys, just style of play, better build up from the back, and an actual striker who can score. And I don't see any reason why you can't make top 4 with those things, because you'll be more confident, you'll be more stable. That'll allow, Caicedo, and it'll be interesting to see, Enzo actually healthy and what the dynamic will be if you guys do a double pivot or if you try to go with Enzo at the 10, even though you'll have Nkuku back.
I think it'll end up being Enzo at like a deep lying playmaking spot and Caicedo in more of the 8 spot with one more attacking 8. So it'd either be like a full attacking 8 or Nkuku attacking 8.
So top 4 is just a must next season.
I would rather see a double pivot with Nkuku up. I'd rather see Enzo and Caicedo in a double pivot with Nkuku in more of like an 8/10 free form role, because he's so fucking good.
But then there's the question: where does Lavia start?
He's so good.
Why
Lavia doesn't need to start? That's the
Lavia is 20 years old.
Can just be you can just have him switch around.
He's 20. He doesn't need to start. That's the thing.
He's 20 years old and he's injury prone. Let him just play, for the first half of the season, give him like 10 appearances, no starts, or start him in a Carabao Cup game in like the
rotation. Exactly, he's a rotation player.
He's too young. He's too young, and he's too injury prone.
That's why we can get rid of Gallagher, because he's not no longer needed as a rotation player. You use Lavia as the rotation player between the midfield pivot. Then you have one of the young guys that use that.
You have too many players. I'm just gonna be honest.
Chukwuemeka, Cassidy, Santos. You got so many guys that can just literally replace him.
No, Mike, you're right. We do have too many players. That's why I want to get rid of Reece. Helps lighten the load.
Oh,
What?
That is insane.
What's wrong with you?
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Why do you gotta do that, Prime?
You know what I mean?
Why would you get rid of
And I
Reece
know
James?
that's not
Nah, what's wrong?
actually how you feel, bro. I know that's not.
I know
actually
that's how you.
feel
No,
as the
no, no.
world.
Prime definitely feels that.
No,
same
he
way.
doesn't, bro. I've actually had conversations with Prime where he says, like, as long as Reece James can stay healthy, I want him at my club. Like, it's like,
listen, that's the key part.
Come
Stay
on.
healthy.
but
I'm pretty sure everyone here.
I'm
pretty sure everyone here cannot deny.
surgery. You have to wait and see
Yeah,
that surgery.
everyone here won't deny that Reece James has talent, right? We know he's got talent. I mean,
he's probably our most
Hey,
talented.
Ahmed. If you say he has talent, then that's fine. If you say that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah,
But he
Listen,
does.
you know what I mean. Listen, he has everything. Issue is, man, he's on the hospital bed, man. He's moving like Pulisic, bro. You know the joke he's thinking about Pulisic. He probably knows the medical staff. They go out for cappuccinos and lattes. You know what I mean? Because they're injured that many times, literally.
He knows all the nurses, man. That's all he is.
Hey,
Yeah, you know what I mean. He knows the physios.
The one thing about Enzo Maresca, right? He's instilling like a diet or something with
Conte
these
style
players.
diet, bro.
Hey,
Conte
Reece,
style diet.
you might be back. Reece might be back, man. Let's go.
No ketchup for you, mate. No ketchup
Bro,
for you, mister.
bro, Prime, just for the sake of your sanity, he had Ricardo Pereira, who's been consistently an injury-prone right back with his knee problems, healthy for the entire championship year, which is almost 450 games. He was healthy
Joey,
the entire year.
Joey,
So hopefully this
Reece,
is actually a
Reece has had
turning point
surgery.
for Reece.
And we have a manager that knows, keeps players on a scheduled diet. If this doesn't work for Reece James, I don't want anyone to tell me shit. I'm sorry. It's the last chance for him.
I've
Don't
already
tell me
told
shit.
you that I'm okay with selling Reece James if he gets a long-term injury again.
Listen,
I agree.
I think our directors need to fix the medical staff team before we even get to next season.
Bro, it's not even like he's
It's not
fat.
even their
Like,
fault.
you
Did you read the article
literally-
today,
you
by the
were
way? Did you
so
guys read the
shameless,
article?
by the
He
way.
isn't
Real
fat.
quick,
It
hold
has
on.
to do with the way he runs.
Yes.
Exactly.
Part of it's that. Hold on. Part of it's that. Like this. Prime. You trigger me so much. Like part of it is the way he runs, but also part of it's because the motherfucker's just built like a brick shit house. Like he's.
no,
It's not because he's eating Cheetos and fucking Nando's every weekend. Like what are we doing? You're saying obese Reece? Like what the fuck? Arnold Schwarzenegger's obese then. For fuck's sake, bro. What are we doing?
Let's not do that, mate. Let's not do that. All right.
Let's not do that.
Come on.
Marshall, here's your problem with
What is your problem?
Here's the problem with you. You take my
Yo, Chris is a
jokes too seriously.
Bro,
take
I
my joke,
can't
'cause I've
because I
said this
can't
stuff.
decipher you. I can't
no,
read
Marshall, I'm
you.
not-
You are
Marshall, I'm not-
the number
hold on.
one Chelsea
Marshall, I'm
fence
not-
sitter because
I'm not-
one day you'll be like, my right back. Yes, Reece James, world class, better than Trent, clear of Trent. And the next day, like today, you'll be like, obese Reece. That's why we gotta lighten the load. We gotta get rid of him. 2 for 1 special with Reece because he's obese. Get it?
Mike, what'd you say, bro?
He's not even near.
First of all,
Hey, no,
It's
very near
We're
Trent.
not doing that. Yeah, we're not
Don't
doing
start
that.
this. No,
We're not
because
doing that.
Trent's been injured like once in his whole career. Okay, so
First
this
of
isn't
all-
even a debate.
And he's had more assists
Marshall-
than Reece James this season as well. He's on the same level.
Marshall, first of all, I've never said 2 for 1 special. Okay, I've never made jokes. Don't be disrespectful. And second of all, I've
Listen,
said the
man.
stuff Mike said
You're
about
welcome.
Reece. Hold on, Marshall. Hold on. I've said the stuff Mike said about Reece. However, when I'm making jokes, yes, of course I'll call him fat as a joke because it's funny. I rate Reece as a player, obviously, but if he's continuously getting injured, I'll make jokes. I'll make jokes about everyone, about every Chelsea player. You think I'm gonna hold back because it's Reece James? No,
Mike,
I don't care.
Mike,
I was making last 2 years
you
ago.
think-
I was making jokes about Thiago Silva being old. I don't
Let's
care.
talk about football again. Mike, do you think that Trent's gonna actually stay at right back after this season?
I think that right now there's too much up in the air. Like I don't care about players right now at all because I don't think it's worth stressing over.
No,
because-
I'm not saying that. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering
yeah. I'm
just
trying to lead
structurally,
into
right?
the question.
Not new players or anything like that. Because you could play Connor Bradley there. I'm not saying that you need
No,
to get
yeah,
another
for
right back.
sure.
But
Trent,
because Trent's been utilized in the midfield in England. Like
I would
where
rather
he's being played.
Yes.
So, like, do you expect him at Liverpool to stick at right back or maybe move into the midfield?
In an ideal world, after the Champions League final against Real Madrid, I went on Reddit and I said Trent should be in the midfield, and I got like 800 downvotes. 2 years later, everyone and their fucking mother is talking about how Trent should be in the midfield. Trent is an 8. I think that he should be there. However you want to manifest that, doesn't really matter to me. I don't want Trent at right back. I hope that Arne Slot sees him not being at right back, because I also don't want Arne Slot to try to duplicate Jurgen Klopp's system of creating from the wings. Creating from wing backs, right? Because like 18, totally. 19, 19, 20, Andrew Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold were our two daggers.
That's not his style, by the way. I've watched quite a bit of games from him. It's not his style.
He's not like that. So if he's not going to be like that, Connor Bradley defensively shows more promise than Trent defensively. Connor can also go forward, but Trent, to me, like if you were to put him in the 8, not more as like a ball progressing, ball carrying 8, but like a playmaking 8, that would make so much more sense to me. Plus, his defensive numbers in midfield transition are actually among the best at right back. Like if you just look at that specific metric, defensive transition in midfield, he's among the best in the world at right back. Every other metric,
in the 50 area you're talking.
Every other metric in the final third, he's fucking dog shit because he's just terrible at positioning. He doesn't track the runner, but he's really good at making tackles in midfield, and he's really good at dominating play there. So if you just put him at the 8, I mean, I would love to see us go get a proper 6 and then have him with, Alexis in an 8, Trent in an 8, and a proper 6. That would be unbelievable, because then you can move Szoboszlai to more of like a utility forward, and Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott can be more rotational players, and I really think that Trent could shine there. Plus, he's got an amazing shot, and one of the best passers of the ball in the world. It's just the only thing that bothers me would be, dribbling ball progression. But I don't think you need to. He doesn't need to be that guy. That's McAllister. So yeah, to answer your question,
sure.
I hope that Arnie puts him there in the 8. And then I think that he has the potential to be one of the best midfielders in the world. And then we can all drop this Reece James conversation, because Reece James can't play the 8. So bada bing, bada boom. It just solidifies who's better.
Well, he did already for a team.
Reece James
so it's a totally different conversation that we're not going to have.
I don't know.
You don't have to. We don't have to argue Reece versus Trent on every single thing. By the way, it does not have to be that way.
I was just being a dick.
I'm actually giving you this 8, so you have the exit to stop. So for us to stop having this head-to-head, because Reece is going to stay at right back. Like that's the real thing. It's like I don't think that Trent's a right back, and I've never thought he was a right back. I just think that Klopp utilized him at right back for his abilities with his right foot. Like it's just really what it comes down to. Like that's just
too many questionable decisions. Putting Szoboszlai as the Jordan Henderson role, putting McAllister in the 6. Putting Darwin Núñez not as a focal point 9, but making him more of like a Roberto Firmino roaming 9 that drifts to each wing. There's a lot of things that he fucked up, and the biggest one in my mind is Trent at right back, because he's an 8, and if he was an 8, I think that he could potentially be one of the best midfielders in the world. But anyway, I gotta dip out because I stayed too long. I just wanted to say, you guys are not that far off, but I'm going to banter you forever, Marshall, because you picked a terrible club to support, and I just have to say that.
Not really.
Hey, listen, I can say the same to you, but that's for another show.
Blue. London is blue.
It's all love. Big up to all you
Have a good one, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy that Cali sun, dude.
Hey, it is funny.
Are Chelsea fans not tired of Trent versus James debate, though?
I mean, they're always going to fight.
That's like seasonal.
That's why I'm
been injured a lot. But
that's why I'm not even having I'm actually making it so we can't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, just move in the midfield. That way we can't even.
What was you going to ask me before?
Hold on.
Thing came
even forget positions. Like as a player, James is better than Trent.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we know that. We know that. Listen, we just. It's gonna be biased.
I don't know, man. Chris might say Trent is not better. You never know, man.
Yeah.
No, Chris.
Chris is not a
Reece hater.
I wanted gaming for life. What gaming for life? I wanted to ask you a question, and then I want to move to Soliman, who joined us. Hasn't really had much of a chance to say anything. What I was going to say to you, how do you feel about, I guess, the recent transfers in regards to, I guess, the style of play, and you know, molding it towards what Enzo Maresca supposedly is going to play? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, first we need to get a striker, like a proven. We need to get another striker because we cannot have a Jackson again for next season. Because let's be real, I don't think Jackson got injured in the last season.
No, he got injured a little bit for his wrist. That's it.
He was away for 2 months or something because of AFCON. That's about it, really.
Yeah. But this Sesko link, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. We don't want to go for Osimhen because of the wages, which is ridiculous. Like, Sterling's on 325k a week, so why are we gonna moan about that? But obviously, I get the price tag. If he was like, say, 80, 70 million, yeah, I wouldn't mind it. But 120, I don't think he's that much, personally. Elise, just get it done. Like, there's no way he's picking Man United over Chelsea. Like, let's not be stupid about this. Like, just get him done. Like, we'll be cooking on the right side with him, and especially Reece James and Gusto.
What about Alvarez? Because apparently, we might be.
Yeah, I heard about that. I've also heard Pi's tweet saying we might be offering him a big offer. So I don't know.
Listen. The thing with this is my 2 cents. This is my 2 cents on Alvarez, right? I don't think it's too far fetched because one, he's not getting the playtime he deserves in Man City. Obviously, it makes sense because you're up against Erling Haaland. Makes perfect sense. So if you come to Chelsea, you'd be competing with Nicholas Jackson. If you're as good as he is, which I think he is a good quality striker. I'm not gonna say he's world class, maybe top class, but we would go from there, right?
Yeah.
I think he would be a great choice, and I don't think he'd be that expensive, and I don't think we'd have to give him crazy wages. So I think that is a realistic option, and I would love it if our team actually did get him.
How much they're going to pay?
How much do you think he's going to pay?
Apparently, the price isn't 70 million. Apparently, that's a little price for.
I was going to say 60.
So
70 to 90.
And again, I think for me, whoever's going for Alvarez, by the way, you need to think about that this year. It could be that
PSG.
It would probably be no. It's in a Premier League club, so it could probably be between maybe Chelsea and Arsenal in the sense that whoever loses out on Sesko probably decided to go big. Is decided to go big on Alvarez essentially. That's what I thought in my personal opinion. So let's pray that we flopped Sesko. If you flop Sesko, then Alvarez might be the one.
I'll be fine with that.
I don't think one depends on the other, to be honest. I think
you know something though. This is I think that this is very curious. More than I think we should look deeper than this though for a second, because if you look at the profile of strikers that we've been looking at over the last couple months, they've all been more target men, right? So for us to be linked with a guy like this makes me believe that Enzo Maresca has a different system in mind than what he had at Leicester, because both of the strikers that he had at Leicester didn't have the capabilities of dropping back deep and picking up the ball. This is in this scenario you're picking up. Now you have two guys that can drop back deep and pick up the ball. So I think that this is like I think this should be looked at a little bit more deeper than that. Like, especially if we're going to be spending the amount of money that we're spending on him, makes me believe that that we can't actually go based off of what he did at Leicester at all. Like, because not totally, but almost totally. Like, because the strikers that he had are not that type of striker. I heard somebody tell me today, call me out on Lewis's channel and tell me today that the type of striker that Enzo Maresca had averaged around 22 touches a game. These two, Jackson and Alvarez, are going to need more than that.
Yeah.
To be effective. So
actually,
don't know.
before I bring it to Soliman, over 80 of you guys are watching right now, but I only see 35 likes. So let's get those likes up. Let's
stop moving like a Nunes and Arsenal. Get them likes up, man.
let's crank up those likes, guys, because hey, the performances, this is subpar performance. I know you guys could do better. So crank up the likes if you haven't done so already. Let's try to get at least 50 likes, and I would really greatly appreciate it. But Suleiman, big contributor to the channel. Big up to you, my friend. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you being here and appreciate everything you do for the channel in terms of helping out and showing support and some love. But my friend, your thoughts on Julian Alvarez potentially being a target for Chelsea or Sesko?
Yeah, big up. Yeah, big up everyone. Thank you for having me on the panel. It's a pleasure meeting you all. Honestly, for me, I don't like the link at all. I don't think Alvarez gives us different options than Jackson. He's not going to be great at heading, which was Jackson was bad at. He's not that target man that's going to be up front. I think Jackson is on his way of becoming an Alvarez. He's good at dribbling. He's good at getting away from his man. He's good at receiving the ball. And honestly, as well with Sesko, I don't like the links. It's still an unproven striker that had a purple patch towards the end of his season, which is the same with Jackson. So it could work, it could not work. I think for me personally, like I would rather we take a punt on someone like Gyökeres, especially if we're going to spend around 70, 80 million. At least that's someone that we've seen do it in the championship and do it in the Portuguese league with crazy numbers, right? He's already breaking all the numbers.
All right, I gotta go, guys. Take it easy.
Later, Joe. Thanks for coming on, man. You're always welcome on.
Cool. Take it easy, guys.
But didn't
I was going to agree with that as well, by the way.
Didn't Gyökeres said he would move anywhere where Amrin goes?
I don't know.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I feel like a big offer, like an offer that you would put down for Alvarez, if you put it down for Gyökeres, like an 80, 90 million. I feel like that would convince him to move, right? He's going back to
England.
England.
Just feel like Sesko is a bad move. He's not even ready to come to the Premier League, in my opinion, because he's still young.
Yeah, exactly. And Gyökeres is, I think, 24, 25. So he's a bit more developed. He's a bit more redefined in his game. So I feel like that would be, instead of taking another chance and maybe it will work, maybe it won't work, maybe it'll turn out like a Mudryk, maybe it'll turn out like a Jackson towards the end of the season. I would rather go for something a bit more sure, just to give this manager a better chance. So we don't I want to give this manager the best chances to succeed, so we don't keep going on this merry-go-round with
not
managers.
A problem for him.
So who would the both of you have picked then in terms of the striker market out there?
I don't mind.
Damn, you see, like it's the criticism comes out with these young guys, but then when I ask you who you pick, you struggling here.
Give me Martinez.
Because let's be real. Stop with the Martinez. Lautaro is shit, okay, bro? Get out of here. Get out of here. Lautaro stinks. All right.
Okay.
When you need him to come in clutch, he crumbles.
No,
I would have taken a Gyökeres or an Osimhen, but because Osimhen's wages and his money are ridiculous, then no, I'm not going to go for him. Like, it's too risky.
Wait, what?
See, here's the thing. He probably wants over 300k.
Yeah, he's not coming.
He's like 250k.
Why do you think? Why is Osimhen risky?
You look at the
how
season.
Much he is.
This season.
Okay, hold on. Let me answer this because
I'm asking gaming for life. But like, I want to have a conversation about it with him. Why is it risky? Because so many people say that. Why is it risky?
Well, because think about how much is Chelsea are not going to pay 120 million for him, and I don't think he's worth that. If he was like 80, 70 million, yeah, I'd pay for him, but I don't think he's worth 120 million.
I don't believe he's worth 100. I don't believe he's worth 120 either.
No, neither do I.
Also not worth over 100 mil. Nor is Caicedo, nor is Declan Rice. But if he's the player that you need, you pay the money. That's for one. Two, we won't have to pay. We won't have to pay over 100 mil for him because Napoli also wants Lukaku. Conte wants Lukaku.
Yeah.
Napoli will need a striker, so we can make a deal.
It's not good enough, man. Why are we going off to something that's not good enough, man?
Ahmed, respect.
Wait, respect.
Yeah, see, his Wi-Fi doesn't even agree with him. He agrees. The Wi-Fi agrees with me, man. He knows Osimhen's not good enough.
Osimhen's not good enough. That's it. I'll say Gyökeres, and that's it.
Wait, hold on. Gaming for life. Aside from the price tag, why is Osimhen a risk?
Well, what about
the price tag?
I want to actually. No. You know what, guys? A lot of people want to go for.
Ahmed, stop. I'm having an actual conversation. Like, aside,
Well, I
aside-
can
No,
tell you
no,
why.
so
He
wait,
could.
no, wait, one second,
Hold
Prime.
on.
The
Stop,
point,
no,
I just want
stop,
to make a quick
stop.
point, which is about the knee, which is about the knee for Gyökeres, yeah? Gyökeres just had a knee surgery for a knee that he's been had in painful for quite a while. Who's to say he's gonna come back as good as he is after being under the knife?
Okay, I didn't hear what you said. Anyway, gaming for life. What aside from the price tag, which I don't believe we'll have to spend even 100 mil for him, why would Victor Osimhen be a risk?
Because what about if he flops? What about if he becomes the next Timo Werner again?
But that could happen with Gyökeres as well.
Yeah, but we don't know that. Depends on what
Well,
style.
and we don't know if that.
We
will
don't know with
happen
Osimhen.
Osimhen.
That's the problem with transfers. Everything's a risk.
I just think,
Like,
you know, it's just about. It's just the level of risk you're taking. It's the level of risk you're willing to take. I think the issue with Osimhen is that I feel like for me is
But
it's,
we say
it's medium
but we
risk.
say
It's
no, but
medium.
hold on. We say the level of risk.
Yes.
But we say the level of risk. But Victor Osimhen's been actually doing this for years.
The problem is
Gyökeres is only just first on the scene.
I agree with you,
So
by the way,
he's more
Prime. Prime. By the way, I don't think we should be going for Gyökeres because of that injury. I don't know
Yeah.
if you heard me. That's the point I was trying to make.
I'm not talking. No, the injury. I'm not talking about the injury. That's irrelevant to me. We're
But
talking
it
about.
it should be relevant to you, bro.
No.
I know,
no,
because it matters.
I think that's Ahmed's
Yeah.
opinion. as well.
Ahmed, instead of just talking, like actually listening, it's irrelevant to the point I'm making. Gyökeres will be more of a risk than Osimhen because he's only just burst on the scene. We don't know if he's a one-season wonder. He could be a Piatek. Remember Piatek, that brilliant
Yes,
season?
I
he
know.
had?
Yes,
He's
yes,
vanished
yes.
off the face of the planet. At least Osimhen's been doing this for years. He's been putting in the graph and going up the levels. He's been doing this for years. He's proven. He's ready.
Yeah, but you got to remember, like, for him to come to the Premier League, it's going to take him a while to get used to it and that system and that.
And that will also happen with Gyökeres as well.
Do you know
So
what
it's
the issue is, Prime?
That's why I want a proven Premier League striker like a Tony or like a Isak or whatever.
Tony's not
Isak's
better
a
than
risk too, by the way. Just
Tony's
letting you know.
Tony's not better
True.
than Victor Osimhen, and Isak will not leave Newcastle. So
Do you
what
know?
now?
Do you
And
know?
he's
Do
very
you know,
injured
do you know
for
what's scaring
the
them
last
away,
few
Prime? You know what? You know what's scaring a lot of people away from Osimhen? Yeah, fundamentally, it's just the price tag, bro. I feel like a lot of people feel like it's just gonna be another Lukaku transfer.
What?
That's what it
but,
is.
but that's stupid. You pay the money.
Listen,
for the
I know
best
the
player
logic is
It's
stupid,
not
Prime.
stupid.
Prime,
It's
Prime,
not
Prime,
stupid.
Prime,
Hold
but
on.
that's the logic that they did. That people.
Wasn't
Well, again,
Lukaku 100 million before we
not-
bought him the
it's not-
second time?
It's
80
not,
something.
Yeah,
It's
like,
not,
come
it's
on.
not, Marshall, it is stupid. Saying because
No.
one player did bad, so the next player will have to do bad doesn't make any
It's
sense.
not just, but it's not just one player. Why are we pretending like it was one player? We got burned by Kai Havertz. We got burned by Lukaku. We've seen other clubs get burned by players like
We have better
Alvarez. Not
scouts.
Alvarez. I'm sorry. We do have better scouts. I understand that, but we've seen like Darwin Núñez, who was a. There's no way. We've seen players like Darwin Núñez that they had a fantastic season at Benfica and have not translated over to.
No,
Liverpool.
Marshall. If you knew about Darwin Núñez, the red flags were there.
Yes.
So Marshall, no, but hold on, Marshall. That then tells me that if you sign the right player, the money won't matter, right?
Of course not.
No,
Right? What do you mean? No, if you sign the right player.
no. Like I mean,
then-
like yeah, it won't matter.
Okay, so that means don't sign the wrong player. I knew Lukaku
But
wouldn't
that's-
do well.
But that's where we go back to what you're asking is the high risk.
Hold on, stop. I knew Lukaku wouldn't do that well. I didn't want Havertz. Núñez, like what Oliver just said, we all saw the signs. So if you sign a player that doesn't suit your system, or you sign a bad player, regardless if it's 25 mil or 100 mil, and he does badly, then surprise, like sign the right player, and that's been my thing.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Now I have to talk to you, Prime. Why didn't you want Kai Havertz? What signs were there for Kai Havertz that told you?
I didn't care. Like people were hyped about him in the Bundesliga. I didn't watch him, so like I didn't really care. I didn't want him. He wasn't my preference.
Okay,
Did you
but
want
if you
Timo
did,
Werner?
I wanted Werner, and he flopped. But Havertz, no, I didn't watch Werner. I didn't watch Havertz.
but that's the thing. Like at the time, and people want to forget the context. I'm not saying you did this, Prime, but a lot of people like to do this. At the time when Kai Havertz was acquired by Chelsea, there was no, oh, he's a misprofile. Oh, he didn't fit our system. Like, no. He was one of the most touted youngsters and attacking mids in the world. People wanted him.
Fine, you're not refuting my point. Sign the right.
But it was
player.
a big risk. But how do you know to sign the right player?
You scout properly. You sign.
We
the
didn't
right
even scout Havertz, by the way.
But that's the thing. But we didn't scout this. But we didn't scout. We didn't scout Havertz. You're right, Ahmed. But what I'm trying, Prime, hold on. What I'm trying to get at is that you say scout the right players. How would you know back then that Kai Havertz wasn't the right player? Hold on, listen, Prime. Can you listen real quick? I'm just trying to make a point. Listen real quick, and then you get your point across after you hear what I have to say.
Okay,
what I'm trying to tell you is, at the time, how can you say Havertz was the wrong recruitment or Havertz was the wrong, and you have this criticism of scout the right players when at the time it seemed like Kai Havertz was the type of player that would fit into any system in any team.
Okay. I named quite a few players, and you're only focused on the Kai Havertz part. My point, you're not refuting what I'm saying. My point still stands. Like, you scout properly.
Hey, Oliver, uncomfortable conversations.
You scout properly to find the right players, right?
I understand that.
Particularly if you're going to spend a lot of money, you try and find the right players possible.
But this is the thing. What I'm trying to get at, Prime, is that Havertz was essentially a player that would have fit any system, and he was the right player, but he didn't work out. So we spent the money and we got burned by it. What makes Osimhen any different? I understand we have scouting now and better recruitment, which I do give credit for.
Yeah.
And I do think 9 times out of 10, I think Osimhen would actually work out at Chelsea. But with how high that price tag is and the wages, I don't blame them for not going for it.
It's pathetic.
Hold on. This is weird, Marshall. You just said, I believe 9 times out of 10, you would work out for Chelsea. But because of the price tag and the price tag and the wages, like that makes, if you believe that he would work out for Chelsea, then who cares on the price?
No, I do.
They do.
I do. But that's them. Yeah, I understand why they don't want to take the risk.
I can't speak to the owners or whatever. I don't what they're thinking. I don't know. Talking about you guys. Why do you, if you believe that he'll work, why do you care on the price? If I can find a player that will work, then I don't care how much I have to spend. Get the right player as possible. And you know what? The reason why I'm saying Osimhen is because I'm looking at least from the strikers or forwards I see available, I believe he's the best bet. When people tell me don't sign him, let's go sign Benjamin Sesko, a player you guys have not watched. That's the same thing I said about Havertz when we were even linked with him before we signed him. You guys have not watched Kai Havertz. How do you know he'll actually be successful? That's why I didn't want him and I was skeptical. And lo and behold, he was here for 3 years and didn't really do much.
To answer your question, I think the reason why most of us are kind of okay, and I say most of it, I'm going to speak for myself here. The reason I'm okay with Sesko, right, is because, one, our scouting, right? I think our scouting has done a good job of bringing in players that are talented and do fit a certain profile.
Like a Cole Palmer.
That's like a Cole Palmer. State Farm is there. Also, that's why I think someone like Nicholas Jackson, has actually worked out for Chelsea. You look at the price that he came in at, and you look at the output that he has and the impact he's had in games, it was a good signing, in my opinion. So when you look at someone like Sesko, for the price that he's coming in at, the release clause price, about 40 to 50, right?
It was 56,
60.
Okay, 60. It's going up every day. So
it went up because of the goals he scored. Like there was a clause in his contract.
So when you wait, hold on. Let me just lay my point real quick. Let me just lay my point. With the point is that with him, if you're paying 60 and he actually kicks off and actually becomes a better player and turns into the next Osimhen, I think that's a better investment than paying double that money for someone who's Osimhen, who I don't know if he is going to work out because of the season he had just now.
Okay.
Mark, can I before you go, Prime, I want to make my point, bro.
No, hold on.
Hold on. You're just taking no time, brother. Let me speak once, bro.
But we're having everything is if. By that sake, why not we just use? I'd rather just use Jackson than spend it on Sesko, who we all haven't watched. We're talking about the scouts and what they've done. They also found Jackson last year. I'd rather trust Jackson another year.
And I'm glad they didn't pay that much money for him.
Marshall, you know I've been saying this since like February. If we don't get Osimhen or any of our main targets, give me Jackson again for another season and go and waste it on someone like Sesko. Sesko's not better than Jackson.
Okay, so the
and I'm saying that based on I haven't seen Sesko, so I'm not going to pretend like he's this amazing player.
I get that.
So
go ahead, Ahmed.
Also,
finish your point, Prime.
Also, let me just say this, Ahmed. Everyone's saying because of the price, don't get Osimhen, go get Sesko. No one's giving me any footballing reasons as to why. No one's telling me Sesko. No one's telling me about maybe Sesko has a better ability or a better goal scoring rate or whatever. Everyone's just telling me because of price, this guy's cheaper, so let's get the cheaper option.
The reason they're going for Sesko is because he's less priced. They don't want to go for Osimhen because of the price. He's not worth it.
You guys being the fans, what do you guys see?
So, Prime.
Go ahead, Ahmed, and then I want to hear from Class Ref.
I think for me, I get why people may want proven strikers, but like I think you've heard my point of view before, right? Where I'm like, I don't necessarily think we need a proven striker right now. I just need someone that's going to be great competition for Jackson. That's going to allow both of them to actually compete to become like who's going to be the top striker for me. That's why I think bringing a Sesko for me fundamentally actually works a lot, but works in that sense. I think for me, if you're bringing an Osimhen, it must mean that you're trying to complete. You must mean you believe that you're going to be able to go for the stars. Does that make sense? Like in a season or two, you're going for the stars. But for me, necessarily, I don't think you need to do that. You got a guy in Jackson who's currently getting better, I would say, over time. Bring in a guy like Sesko who can also compete with Jackson and is quite a bit more efficient, I would say, if you look at the goals per game ratio. And then you've got a good position there.
Okay. Class Ref, welcome to the show. I'd love to hear your thoughts and if you have any rebuttal to Ahmed.
I don't think he's here.
Are you there?
Cool. The man, give him a minute.
I think he's
Werner's plugged his Wi-Fi, man.
Is this actually Class Ref though? That's the question.
That's what I want to know as well. The suspense is killing me.
Are we
Be careful of the camera, bro, just in case.
Hey.
We're not Indiana's channel, man.
No,
Enzo, you want to take
I think your mic is working now. Hold on.
You're such a fraud, Ahmed, yeah?
It's Fatou,
You are absolutely the worst when it comes to accents, bro. Bro. I am Fatou. I speak like this.
Can I say something?
I was expecting a Werner talk. I was expecting real Chris to suck him off as well.
Can I say something? Casual, can I say something?
You're ridiculous. Go ahead, give it for life. Go ahead.
This is what I mean is a fraud. This is what I mean is a fraud. I live in Austria, you know, man.
You ain't him, man.
You're speaking like a girl.
Go ahead, give it for life.
Respect Benjamin Sesko, yeah? Benjamin Sesko is a baller. You know what? He's come from
you know what? You do waffle as much as him. At least
Listen,
you do.
I'll say my opinion.
Listen, I want to say my piece here. I want Benjamin Sesko at the club right now. And also, Pochettino needs to be sacked as well. He's gone already. And
he was coaching the whole season.
I'm right now with my sister. As well. And the fact she wants Timo Werner back at Chelsea is a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. But yeah, Enzo MARESCA will cook next season with Enzo Fernandez as the false 8. Then you got Julian Alvarez at the front on the left.
Hey, Fatou, how long you been doing this impression for?
Yeah.
Alright, well.
Ahmed, like I heard what you said, and like I guess fair enough. But I just look at like I don't know. I just look at Chelsea fans will complain on the price, and then they'll judge him based off of the AFCON final because they haven't watched him. But yeah, in the same breath, they want another player that is cheaper that they have not also watched. That's the massive problem I have with this fan base. They hype or they hate on players they haven't watched. They did the same thing with Havertz. Bring him in. He's amazing, talented, but they didn't watch him and he flopped massively.
You know where it's Prime?
It's so... And why is one player better than another and you haven't watched either one? At least with me, I'll be honest. I said I haven't watched Sesko, so I don't know. So that's why I don't want to bring him in. I don't want to bring in a player I haven't watched. I don't know where that's coming from.
Wait, that is coming from somewhere. What the?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I just want to say quickly, Prime. I just want to, Prime. I wanted to actually back you for a bit. Yeah. Do you know why we brought Havertz? I don't think Marshall understands why we brought Havertz. By the way.
No. I know the reason. I know the reason why.
No, the scouts. None of the scouts looked at him. No one looked at him. It's just that Roman Abramovich watched the comp on Twitter and said, "Let's bring him in." That's why.
Ahmed. I didn't say the reason why we bought him.
I'm really well aware of that, by the way. I understand we didn't even have a scouting network prior to this new management, so you don't have to tell me. I'm really
my thing is with people like, why are not? I'm not talking. Michi, I get what you're saying, but I'm not talking about the scouts. I'm talking about this fan base. Why are they hyping players or hating on players that they haven't watched? Regardless, people haven't watched. Majority of Chelsea fans I know have not watched Sesko. Just like I know they didn't watch Osimhen. But why is one better than another just because one costs less money? That's my no one gives me footballing reasons why one is better than another. That's my frustration.
Spitting facts, bro. You're spitting facts, man.
But like, hold on. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't want Sesko. I'd actually rather Osimhen. Do you think like Sesko's what 50 million?
Around that, yeah.
So say we pay 50 million.
50 to 60.
Say we can use the rest of the money, 70 million on a winger. Maybe we want two players instead of just risking it all on one player. Maybe that's the reason why, us fans, or some of us fans rather that way. I don't rather that way, by the way, Prime. But like, yeah, that's why maybe some fans think like that. I don't want Sesko.
But Chris, it depends what you want from the striker, though. If you just want an alternative to Jackson, just like it doesn't matter about the quality, then fine, go and get Sesko. If you want a clear and obvious and proven upgrade, you do not get Sesko.
Oliver, if we want an alternative, if people want an alternative to Jackson, why don't we use why don't people recommend David Fofana, which is what I did back in February. I said back in February, if we don't get our main striker targets, let's use Jackson and Fofana for another season.
So that's the thing, Prime. I would rather use Datro Fofana than buy Benjamin Sesko, because I'm with you on the mindset. If we're getting a striker, it has to be an up. That's my point of view, but other people think differently.
I don't want to spend money on someone who's gonna give Jackson competition shit. Either trust Jackson or spend money on someone that's ready to come in now.
Especially when it's significant money as well. Like 60 million for competition. I'm sorry, man. When you get Jackson for 35, you go and get someone. If you want competition, go and get someone else.
Havertz. How much did Arsenal spend on Havertz from us? 60 mil.
60 something.
And now Arsenal fans are saying they need another striker, so Havertz will be backup. We'll laugh at that. 60 million for a backup is funny.
And we used that 60 million. Wait, we used that for 45 million for Cole Palmer. We used that more than Kai Havertz at Chelsea.
Yep. Okay, good for you. So we're gonna spend 60 mil on another competition player. That's the same thing Arsenal did. Then basically, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like that's a little disingenuous, though, because on one end, we're making this argument that if we don't get Osimhen, then we're fine continuing on with Jackson. If the idea is to give Jackson competition, then the idea or the notion that gives off is that we're getting someone of Jackson's level or better that's going to compete with him, and they're going to compete for the spot. So, and this is just me playing a little bit of devil's advocate, right? Let's say we do bring in Sesko. Who's to say that by the time that they get to the age of Osimhen right now, which is 26, I think that's 4 years away, who's to say that both those strikers don't become Osimhen's level or better? So who's to say like that's where we don't get our bang for our buck?
The problem with that is that if you're getting a guy that is either the same level or worse than Jackson,
that's a brilliant point, Mark.
Go on, Prime.
You said it's a brilliant point.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, I
thought they were going to say something else.
Sorry, I was just saying, like, I was just saying, like, if you're getting a player like Sesko who is either the same level as Jackson, if not slightly worse in terms of an all-round game, you're really not making a difference. Because if Jackson has a bad patch and then he has to get subbed out, then you're effectively subbing a like for like in terms of ability, and then you're not actually getting that upgrade that you want. So again, it really just depends on how patient Chelsea fans want to be. the less patient ones will not want a Sesko.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead, Prime.
Yeah, Marshall, I do agree that Jackson could potentially get to the same. Well, maybe not the same level. Maybe like a tier below.
Close.
Osimhen
Or
in like
the same or better in a different way.
I do agree. I do agree with that with Jackson. With Sesko, again, I will be honest and say I haven't watched him. I have no idea on Sesko, which is why I don't want him. I don't want to bring players that I haven't seen. But with Statue Fofana, I think he could. He has talent in him. That's why I'd rather use him, because Jackson and Fofana, I think they are roughly on the same level as well. Maybe Fofana is a better goal scorer. But
that
I think
also depends if Chelsea loan him out again or just sell him.
But bro, my thing is, if we're not going to spend the money on the proven guy, I'd rather, if we're going to do this thing of having competition, I'd rather have competition on the two guys we bought last season who both have talent in them. People are Sesko. No one's giving. Chelsea fans are not giving me actual footballing reasons about why this guy could potentially be one of the best.
You know what, Prime? I'm going to give you a footballing reason right now.
About price, and that's the
Prime. Let me give you a footballing reason. Prime, let me give you a footballing reason. Yeah, he's got blonde hair. You know what I mean? Gallagher already.
I don't
you know what I mean?
Come on, man.
Huh? Come on, man. No, I'm just trying. If I was to, listen, Prime knows my. In regards to like Osimhen, for me, I know that Prime thinks that his link-up play is quite good. I just think that secondary, the tertiary stuff from him, I'm a bit hesitant in regards to saying that. I don't feel that they're as complete enough maybe for the price that I'm going at for him. Do you get what I'm saying to you, Prime?
Okay, but Ahmed, again, we've spoken on this a lot. I know your reasons. I'm not talking about you, or I'm not even talking about really anyone on this panel. I'm talking to Chelsea fans that are watching this, like the wider fan base.
Oh, fair enough.
Why is it you don't, and this is again, you've not watched Osimhen, or you've watched him on one game in the AFCON final where the whole team stank.
Well, but it was just by himself,
No, but you don't want Osimhen because he will cost a lot of money, both on price and wages. You want Sesko, who you haven't watched, who's not going to cost much money on price and wages. Why?
If you want Osimhen, if we want Osimhen, get that price tag down to 70, 60 million or 80 and we'll take him. But not 120 million. He's not worth it.
So that's the thing, right? And before I continue, big up, real quick, Prime. Big up Staffy. Big up everyone coming in on the Staffy raid. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't listen to Ahmed. Thank you so much for everyone who just came in from the raid. Be sure to smash up the like. It does help us out tremendously. Also, be sure to subscribe. Help us get to 3K. We're on our way to 3K, and it would be a tremendous help if you guys would show us important that way. And yeah, I mean, big up to Staffy. If you didn't already watch, we were on American Waffle last night, waffling about the Man City charges and the suing of the Premier League, so on and so forth. And that was all the fun stuff. Real quick, what's up?
So have you seen the latest news about Chelsea being involved in this and giving evidence to support City?
And apparently,
no, I have not.
Yeah, in that case, so basically,
Before we continue, hold on. Ladies and gents, if you do want to join in on the call-in show, the link is pinned to the comment as well as in the description below. So we're probably going to be going for about another hour to 45 minutes, give or take. But if you guys want to join in, the links are there below. Ahmed, what were you going to say?
So I'm gonna bring it up for you, yeah, because it's just literally on the aggregate account, so I can just show it to you better. So essentially, Chelsea have Chelsea, Newcastle, and Aston Villa are all sympathetic here to what is going on with Man City, and each of them have provided different types of evidence essentially to help and back Man City essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think the thing about Chelsea apparently, so Chelsea themselves, the issue they have here, and I was saying this just previously even on my stream, was essentially, like how the Premier League is the one that values how much the price, like how an infinite athlete sponsorship was only worth 40 million according to the Premier League, like the valuation was, right? So they're basically, Chelsea's trying to pushing against that, saying that they should be able to choose how much it's basically worth. Like it's not up to the Premier League. It should be up to the football. It should be up to the actual football club, the actual sponsorship to say how much it is. Basically, does that make sense, Marshall?
Hold on, I just got.
Yeah, the valuation fee that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is it for Gallagher? Valuation.
No.
The sponsorship.
Sponsorship. Oh yeah, we haven't got our sponsor, have we? For next season.
Well, it's not about those. It's not necessarily about next season. It's just about sponsorships in general and what is considered to be fair market value.
Exactly. So let me just bring this up here. Let me just bring this up for you right now, Marshall.
Go for it.
And then you can have that, my friend.
All right, let's see. Can you zoom in just a little bit?
All right, I got you.
Okay, cool. Chelsea, Aston Villa, Newcastle all sympathize with Man City legal case against the Premier League as civil war brews ahead of next week's hearing. All three clubs believe champions have valid concerns ahead of hearing on Monday. That's coming from Michael Keegan.
Yup, and then it is said that it's thought that Chelsea provided a statement that challenges the updated rules on associated party transactions.
See, again, it's like one of those.
So this is different because I was reading there was another one that I was reading from thelawyer.com, which was actually
I think this one.
Have a good one, Soliman. Thanks for hopping on.
So
it depends on Man City as well because Man City they have their own case against the Premier League. I don't think it's about sponsorship.
No. But no. You're not getting what I'm saying, Pato. One of the grievances that Man City have is to do with sponsorships, and Chelsea's agreeing with them and providing evidence to back them on that point.
Oh, okay.
You get me? And this is different because this is about the selling of like the hotel. By the way, this is to do with that. By the way, the one that we just read right now. So
wait,
this
didn't we also sell the training ground as well?
We haven't sold the training.
It's not confirmed.
Apparently, that's not been confirmed. They've denied that. Yeah,
they've denied that. Same with the women's team. That's currently been denied that we're planning to sell.
I thought because I heard it somewhere. And I thought it might have been confirmed.
No, I know, bro. It came from the Daily Mail report. Yeah.
That training ground is a PR nonsense. I don't buy that.
But yeah, so hey man, listen, I was just hoping Chelsea, can we just sit back? You know what I mean? I don't want us to get even more heat on us. Let's just hope this is, you know what I mean? I don't want
FFP.
Yeah.
Listen, by the way, you United fans are gonna cry when Elise joins Chelsea. Yeah, I want to see them tears because there's no way Elise gonna pick Man United over Chelsea.
No, I don't think so either. Actually, on that, and I'm glad you brought that up, Gaming for Life. I kind of wanted to bring up what you guys have been thinking about this whole rumor going about that apparently, I don't believe it, but this is what's going around that apparently Enzo wants to actually work with Sanchez, and we might not actually go in for another keeper.
I think it's a PR. I think he would. He said he would want to work. I think he doesn't mean that he would want to work with him the whole season. I think it's a little PR. It's just sounded like I think he's going to sell him by the end.
Sanchez is a bum. I'd rather have Petrovic.
I don't disagree with
to Alvarez. No, what's his name? Martinez. Why do I keep saying Alvarez?
Wait, Martinez? I haven't seen the Martinez links.
I think that link was died long ago.
Yeah, the Aston Villa goalkeeper.
Yeah, Aston Villa goalkeeper. Yeah.
Personally, I think you guys aren't gonna like this. I think Sanchez gets a lot more flack than he really should. I know he wasn't great last season, but at the same time, our whole defense wasn't great.
No,
you can't expect the keeper to be good when our defense is shambolic like that. Even the worst keepers have. Even the best keepers have shit seasons when they have horrible defense like that in front of them.
But our defense got better when Petrovic was in goal. I can say that.
Not by much. I mean, we kept 2 clean sheets all season.
Let me say this, man. I've said this on previous streams, like wherever I've been. For me, Robert Sanchez's shot stopping was not my problem with him at all. I don't know about anyone else. I was fine with him as a shot stopper. On the ball, he is a calamity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I agree. I think any manager or any head coach, whatever, should be able to at least try out some of these players before deciding beforehand to sell him or move him on.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily opposed to him being like, before I say anything about Sanchez, before I decide to get rid of him, let me at least, put him in my teams and try him out and see how this works out. Like, that's kind of where I'm seeing it. Although I would prefer another keeper like the ones that we've been, linked with.
Like a Costa, maybe.
Diogo Costa's not a bad shout.
Yeah.
I like this the Valle. Who is the guy that we were just talking about last week? Las Palmas.
Yeah.
Dude, I was looking into him and he actually looks pretty good. I wouldn't be upset if we actually picked him up. I know people don't know him because it's not a name that people are aware of, but I don't think he could be a bad shout either. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think of the whole Sanchez situation?
Bro, why did we even buy him in the first place? I'll be real.
Hey, because our head of global goalkeeping recommended him.
Yeah. I mean, we might as well.
Marshall, did you hear about that, by the way? Ben Roberts, the guy who recommended Sanchez, got a promotion.
And like, even if we sell him, he's on a 7-year deal contract. Think about how much we have to pay for him.
Yeah, Marshall, that comment right there. Last year wasn't the same thing said about Kepa, that Poch wanted to use him or whatever. Or
yeah, and he never did.
And then all of a sudden he's gone. So
true.
I personally interpreted the vocabulary in a different way. The way they were saying with Kepa and Poch was that Poch was like, quote, willing to use him. It wasn't necessarily an endorsement. Whereas what Fabrizio is now saying about Sanchez is that Maresca went to the board and he said he really likes him. So I think the vocabulary is a bit different. I may be reading too much into it, but that's the way I see it.
I guess we're going to have to see. Because I would like some of these keepers that we're linked with. Listen, I'm not trying to say I rate Sanchez. I just feel like he actually does get a lot more shtick than he actually deserves. Because we want to say he's shit. Off the top of my head, Arsenal and the Brighton game we won in the Carabao, I believe, were the real big games where he made huge blunders that nearly cost us or did cost us the game.
United at Old Trafford, Leicester City at home.
What did he do at United at Old Trafford?
He saved
giving the ball away. This is all his problem is, Marshall. He's just terrible on the ball. There's literally barely a single shot-stopping error that you can point out. All of it is just him being erratic and a calamity on the ball.
When it comes to set pieces, he's horrible.
Oh yeah, for a 6'6" guy, he can't come on the box either. That's just horrible.
I think that's disingenuous. I feel like he was better at that than Petrovic.
I don't think it's good enough. The level Sanchez.
Yeah, I don't think
is
it's
better
good enough
than
either.
Petrovic. That's not high enough.
Marshall,
Look, I'm not going to pretend that Sanchez is. I'm not going to pretend Sanchez was claiming the ball in the air and controlling the box.
I disagree.
No. I can tell you multiple times where I've seen Petrovic fluff at the ball, and it nearly cost us.
Oh yeah,
to talk about that.
And there's multiple times where Petrovic has been comfortable claiming crosses in the air as well.
Yeah, but there's more of those for Sanchez than there are for Petrovic.
That's fine.
I can say that confidently.
There's more of Sanchez not being able to command his box than there are Petrovic.
I disagree with that. I don't agree with that whatsoever.
Well, Petrovic.
This is what I mean. I think there's such a big revisionist history over Sanchez simply because of what he did against Arsenal.
I think
and since that moment on, he's been damned into.
No, there's not. I've never rated
keeper.
Sanchez. Marshall,
I never rated him either.
Listen,
at the end of the day, I just want everyone to know, I don't think Sanchez is our keeper to begin with. Like, he's not the answer. I don't think he's a world-class keeper. I don't even think he's top-class keeper. I think he's okay. I think he's better than Kepa. But I do still believe that we need to get a better keeper. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's a shit keeper either. And I think, going to Oliver's point as well, I think with a better structure, then you start to see better possession play and better passing ability. Because I think that was also an issue for Sanchez. Like it was for all our defense.
Where I'd refute that is that, and this is me basing what I'm about to say on people that have watched Sanchez previously before Chelsea and during Chelsea as well. At Brighton, he he wasn't convincing as a goalkeeper that can build up in pressure. When you press him, he folds.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, that's why De Zerbi. That's one of the reasons that De Zerbi ended up benching him. It's because Jason Steele was better under pressure in build-up play.
But and again, like Brighton, you want to say Brighton screwed us, dude? We only really paid 18 mil for him plus add-ons. Like, did we really get hurt by that? Like, is that really like a burn transfer fee? Like, I don't think so, because there's still a lot to be proven. And to rebut again Oliver's point, I think we also need to realize that when it comes to the defensive solidity of the team, Roberto De Zerbi is not a defensively solid team either. So I think, again, it goes to the structure. If we have a structure like maybe Tuchel's structure and how we were more defensively solid with the back three, then I think Sanchez flourishes from that.
And we only conceded 4 goals under Tuchel in the Champions League because we had a better defence.
Hang on a minute, Marshall, I'll repeat myself, though. My problem with Sanchez is not the amount of goals he concedes. I don't have a problem with that. I
understand that. It's his distribution on the ball.
Yeah,
I think with a better system and a system that's more solid defensively, I think you give yourself more... I guess what I'm trying to say is that in a more efficient system where you're set up properly, your passing lanes are there for you. You don't have to think about it twice. Whereas in De Zerbi's model, I think he left a lot of room to be exposed.
De Zerbi's system is literally built around like having 6 players to build up play at the back. He literally has his back 4 and 2 central midfielders, and he literally coaches them to create passing lanes. So I don't think defensive solidity is not the answer, because, as we know, De Zerbi isn't defensively solid. But in terms of coaching a build-up structure, that's what we need to consider. Under a build-up structure, De Zerbi is good, and Sanchez couldn't thrive on that.
Maybe.
And I'm just saying,
time will tell.
Finally have a set-piece coach, because Poch said he never wanted a set-piece coach. So we finally have one.
Yeah, that's positive as well. Yeah.
Yeah, if that's the case.
Yeah, I just don't think, like, I agree with what's been said out by, the figures out there, that I just don't think that Petrovic is the guy that is going to take us, I just don't think he's the guy going forward, because his ball distribution isn't there yet. I don't think his ability to claim crosses and be, make his presence felt in the box is there either. That's going to take time and development. I'm not saying he's a shit keeper. I think if you had to ask me who I'd rather have as my number 1, I'd still pick Petrovic over Sanchez. But I just want to kind of take that whole Sanchez is shit and just kind of flip it a little bit, because he's not actually shit. He's actually a decent keeper.
He's like average.
Okay.
Definitely better than Kepa.
If you want to... better than Kepa is not a baseline. That's weird to say. And 2, if you want to say he's not shit, that's fine. But, like, he's not that good.
No.
I think he's
definitely not.
Goalkeeper. I think he's a below average goalkeeper.
I don't know about below average. I would say average. But that's just our differences, yeah.
With Petrovic, yeah, okay. But with Petrovic, I think he is good enough to go again for another season. I don't think a goalkeeper is necessarily a massive priority. At least that's just me personally. However, the way MARESCA loves to play, a goalkeeper that's comfortable in those sort of situations is extremely important for his system. So you need a goalkeeper that's comfortable being that high up the pitch.
And please, I beg for the love of God, Enzo, I beg you, do not play Chilwell on the left wing. Do not do a Poch.
He's not going to... Well, no, he won't do that with Chilwell.
No.
I'm sure that would have been something that they discussed, in the negotiations and the interviews, because that was one of the reasons that Poch got sacked.
Damn it! Fuck you, Chilwell.
No,
I'm just getting PTSD. Just to like relive all that BS with left wing Chilwell.
I was gonna say if we did have Osimhen, yeah. So say Nkunku on the left, Osimhen up front, Palmer as a 10, Olise up front, tell me that's not a better attack than Man City.
I don't.
But that's why. You know, I'm not gonna say Man City, but what I would say though is that's part of the reason why, like, I feel like when you go for Sesko, it's not that bad of a shout considering when you look at this attack, and hopefully if MARESCA sets it up properly, you should be getting goals from all aspects of the, like, you should be getting goals from left wing, right wing. We shouldn't be solely dependent on the striker, which, mind you, like, I do still want my striker to get, like, Nicholas Jackson set the bar. So at minimum, Nicholas Jackson next season, if he's playing as often as he is, or even if he's playing less minutes, I still expect him to get 15 plus goals. Same thing goes for Sesko. If Sesko were to walk in, I expect 15 plus goals to Sesko. Obviously, context matters, but go ahead.
They were literally comparing Jackson to Drogba.
Let's not do that. Jackson's Jackson.
But that's Chelsea fans for you. Marshall, you know a striker that I would, if it's not Arsenal, who I would be okay with? Victor Gyökeres, because I've actually watched a few games of him, and it seems like his profile would actually suit MARESCA, and he's also a much better goal scorer and just all-round footballer than Benjamin Sesko.
No, I agree.
So, and that's the sort of thing I'm talking about, by the way. When people say, fine, if you're not okay with Osimhen, give me better alternatives. Don't just make,
you know what?
Things.
Here's another striker I'll take back.
Go get Sesko, no. Who?
Go on.
Why don't we just get back Tammy Abraham?
Oh my god.
No, let's not do that. No. Absolutely not.
Post ACL, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Even pre-ACL.
But this is the thing too. Like, I'm not saying Gaming for Life is doing this, but like, people love to rewrite the Tammy Abraham history and take away the context. Like, look, Tammy Abraham was doing the same thing that Jackson was doing his first season.
That's an 80 million release.
Hell no. But also,
not a release clause. That's our buyback that we have.
Fuck that. You know, shut up. How dare you even remind me? So the thing with Tammy, people want to rewrite history thinking like, oh, look at he's doing the same thing Tammy was. We got rid of Tammy. We should have never got rid of Tammy. What was the context of this? Tammy scored four or was it 3?
He scored 7 goals in 3 games, and then
Tammy scored.
There's also the teams. Look at the teams he scored against.
He scored a hat trick against Wolves, right? And he scored 7 goals in the span of 4 games.
That's mad.
And then in the second half of the season, Frank Lampard was consistently playing him, even though he wasn't scoring goals, to a point where we then had COVID, we went into lockdown, and in the post-lockdown run of games, Giroud started the majority of them, and
Giroud was still good.
The guy is awful.
Because Giroud's better.
Tammy, I remember people laugh at Werner. Bro, people laugh at
Giroud's
Werner.
going MLS.
It annoys me how much people laugh about Werner in front of goal.
Marshall,
I remember. Hold on, gaming.
Oh.
I remember Tammy Abraham headed off Mason Mount against West Ham. He played a cross in the box. The ball was literally on the line, and Tammy Abraham cleared it off the line. People talk about Werner, but they don't talk about the misses Tammy has had. He is an awful finisher.
I agree. And awful in the air too.
Awful, and his all-round play is just average.
There is another striker that I would take, in my opinion, I think, which is good. Griezmann. He's on 15 million reclause.
Oh no! Stop it! Stop it!
Come on, man.
We're not doing this, bro. What do you mean, Griezmann? This guy would want 700,000 a week.
I mean, Problem is, Griezmann's like a number 10 or a striker in a 2. He's not a lone striker. He flopped at Barcelona as a lone striker.
Yeah, no. Griezmann also is so unrealistic, it's not even funny. Because the wages is insane. I don't know how much he's getting paid at Atletico, but it's a ridiculous amount of money. I'm pretty sure it's like 600K. I think he's on 600K because he came off of that Barcelona contract. That Barcelona contract was like 700.
Bro, even then,
that's like Koulibaly. He's on 500K.
Forget the money again is not a problem. I don't care about the money. Where would he play? Because he's not a striker. He wouldn't be our best 10. The guy is too old to play on the wing. Where would he play?
That's also why I don't want João Felix, because João Felix, for the price that he's coming in at and the price that he's being touted for, I don't think he's worth it. People want to.
But again, where does João Felix even play though? That is
the problem.
Oliver, that's my point. I don't care about money or wages. I'm looking at where would you actually play.
You look at the fit first, and then decide about how it's worth.
Yeah.
I personally feel like we're gonna end up with a Sesko or an Alvarez, either one of them.
Bro, if we get Alvarez, I'll be stoked. I'm not gonna lie.
What, you think it's bad?
That came out of. I'd be good. No, I'd be stoked. I'd be happy.
I would.
But how much do you think we'll pay for him? More like 90 million.
But Man City would want to extort us.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to pay big money for him. He's not a big money.
And again, people say they don't want to pay big money for Osimhen. Why would you want to pay big money for Alvarez?
Because he's proven probably in the Premier League. That's probably what they're looking for more.
So this is where I go back to what I was saying, right? Like, I think with Alvarez, the reason I'm more comfortable with bringing him in, and someone brought this up earlier, I think it was a really good point in the chat, is the ability to flip for profit later on. I think one of the issues with the Osimhen, first of all, it's not even just Chelsea that's not going for Osimhen.
It's Arsenal.
Even PSG is not going for Osimhen, and they have money. We all know they have money. They're not even going for Osimhen because
they have like
but the links are there. Obviously, they've been linked with him multiple times, but they're not even approaching Osimhen because, to be honest, whoever is Osimhen's agent did a horrible job of trying to get him out of Napoli because that release clause, honestly, is not realistic.
No, but bro, I mean, first of all, I don't think the release clause is a problem. The thing with PSG is they have like 2-3 strikers already. They're looking at Kvaratskhelia because once Mbappe leaves, they have a massive hole on that left wing.
I think
that's the thing with PSG.
I think selling Chalobah is no.
Also,
well, let's just stick to one topic first.
Also, Osimhen wants to come to the Prem. Arsenal won't spend that money on him because they're just that sort of a club. I was surprised they spent 100 million on Rice. They're not going to do that again.
What
and
club do you reckon he will go to?
Also, Arteta won't undermine his star boy Havertz. So Osimhen doesn't make sense. Sesko makes sense because Sesko, he's not going to start over Havertz as a striker.
Doesn't Arsenal want Rashford as well?
Yeah, Rashford's not a striker. Rashford's a winger.
Yeah, but what about if they put Havertz on the wing?
They're not going to play Havertz on the wing. Arteta's not stupid.
If you're playing Havertz on the wing, that means Saka's on the bench. They're not going.
Havertz wouldn't play on the wing.
He'd play on the left.
Havertz can't.
He's never played left.
On the left. Havertz won't play on the wing. Rashford will play off the left. But anyway, I think like Osimhen would either Chelsea or he stays another year at Napoli. And
didn't you say United he would go to as well?
Why would he want to stay another year? United don't spend that money on Osimhen.
United just bought Højlund. Well, I know he's not good enough, but they just bought.
They just spent big money on Højlund. They just spent big money on Højlund. Why would they do that? And Ashbrook
has done more than him.
So they'll keep Højlund. So he either comes to Chelsea or he stays at Napoli another year, and I don't see why he would stay at Napoli, because of the situation that's happened with him mid-season last year. How the club were racially abusing him.
And I don't think they want to do a swap deal.
Oliver, people don't remember that he's going to leave. So again, like I said, we won't pay 100 mil. It'll be like around 80 plus Lukaku and maybe plus a young player. We'll be fine. Like I'm not worried or anything. Like,
yeah, but that also depends on the owners who they want and the directors.
Which owners and directors?
No, like it depends on the directors and our owners, like who they feel like it's more suitable for as a striker.
They'll clearly do want Osimhen, considering we've been in talks with him for at least a year.
Yeah, but like their problem is more the release clause.
But I just told you if we can find a way to get him.
Yeah, that's that's if they try.
And they've got the alternative lined up as well. They've got Sesko lined up.
Yeah, but Sesko will go to Arsenal. I truly believe we won't touch Sesko.
Have the Duran links died down? Because we could still go for him. I'm not saying I want Duran, but we could still go.
I think the season West Ham or Villa have just had, they'll probably increase the price for Duran, and we won't get him.
Okay.
But again, for what Vic just said, for MARESCA system, Like, as much as I want Osimhen, I'm cool with not getting him, so long as we get a striker that suits Maresca. I don't want us to just get a random guy.
But would you be happy with Alvarez?
Yes, because he's quality, but I don't want to overspend for him. If we're not going to spend 100 million on Osimhen,
how much is overspending though?
I'm not spending 80 million on Alvarez.
I'd say Alvarez, I'd take 40 million.
40 million for you? Come on now. You know you're not going to get Alvarez for 40 million.
I'll take 60 for him.
I would. No,
look at the striker market, Oliver. How would you, if Benjamin Sesko and Gyökeres are going for the prices you're going for, why do you think treble-winning Julian Alvarez is going to go for 40?
Marshall,
bro, that's like saying Mount's an FA Cup winner. Like, yeah, technically, but what did he actually do?
Yeah, but like Mount's actually not a good player, and Alvarez is.
No, I'm not. That's not the comparison I'm making. I'm just saying one contributed, one.
Marshall,
you know what I mean?
I would be cool with. You know what? I would be cool with 60. I still think 60 is a lot of money.
That's why
I think 70 is where I cap it. 70 is where I cap it.
Okay, let's even say 70 or 60 plus 10 mil add-ons. But if we're spending 80 mil on a player that's been on the bench for 2 years, but you tell me you don't want to spend 100 mil on a proven striker, I think you're crazy, Chelsea fans.
Bro, if we're spending 70 million on Julian Alvarez, then put 15 on top of that and go and get me Gyökeres.
But the thing is, like, Alvarez is a proven striker in the Prem. We know this.
But
he's barely even played striker this season, though. He's been playing mostly as like midfield or...
Marshall, do people not remember throughout this season, people were saying that Alvarez is shit. People were saying he's not good anymore. All of a sudden, he's worth spending money on. Like, this is why I
wasn't saying that. I never said that.
No, I'm talking about the ether, the narrative about
I don't recall that, but yeah.
I do.
I don't, but yeah, go on. Continue your point.
Yeah, I just I wouldn't again. I do rate Alvarez. I like him, but if we're spending more than 80 mil or up to 80 mil, I would rather get a Gyökeres or an Osimhen, because at that point we're spending a lot of money on Alvarez when he's not proven as a starter. Even though he's got amazing talent, he's still not proven to be a starter. Gyökeres is, at least, even though it's just one season with Gyökeres, but he's proven to be a starter. Osimhen's been doing this for years.
Will Amrin let go of him? That's the question.
Amrin let go. Oh, Amrin let go of Gyökeres. That I don't know. He has a release clause, though.
Amrin would have no choice. He's at
because it's a release clause.
You'd have no choice.
Exactly, and Amrin understands how Sporting works. Like, Amrin understands, like, his best players are going to be picked off. Like, that's just how Sporting's always been. That's how, Benfica's always been. That's how Porto, like, these guys that manage these clubs understand that, to a certain extent, they're farmer clubs, in the sense that their best talents will always get picked up. Dortmund is that way as well. So
what about if they offers 100 million for him?
If he offers what?
If they offer us 100 million for Gyökeres, would Chelsea buy him?
No, I don't think for 100 million. For 100 million, at that point, just get Osimhen.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at that point, just get Osimhen, because at least with Osimhen, like, he's been scouted. I assume that our scouting department would determine that he is a good fit for the team. And I've seen what he can do at his best. I'm sure a manager. I'm not going to say MARESCA, right? But I'm sure, like, a manager can get the best out of Osimhen. Like, obviously, it didn't happen this season with Napoli's manager. I understand that there's context to it that is instilling doubt into Osimhen, right? Because, let's admit it, he didn't have a good season this previous season. It was definitely lackluster to what he had the season before, and that's instilling doubt into people. But that's not to say you can't put him into a system. You can't put him with another manager and he gets the best out of him. That's very possible as well. But going back to the Alvarez thing, even though you want to say, or I know Oliver said this, but even though there are people that are going to say that, oh, he didn't really do much this season, he wasn't playing as a striker, he was playing more as a cam, all this and that. Yes, Pep was trying to shoehorn him into the cam position. But when Haaland was injured, he did play as striker. And all of us know that he is a striker and he's living under Haaland's shadow right now. Even when he wasn't a striker, and I'm looking at his stats right now, if I'm doing the math real quick, in all competitions for Man City, this guy managed to get 18 goals and 13 assists. As a cam, as a not out and out striker, and not even a first choice option. I feel like I'm talking about Sterling again, so I just got a little bit of PTSD. I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case.
No, but again, Marshall, it's all right. Like, again, no one's denying Alvarez's quality. But if you're telling me spend, like, just look at it. If you're telling me, let's spend 80 mil, whatever, 90 mil on a striker that's been on the bench for 2-3 years, then can I not just spend that money on a proven guy that's been scoring goals as a starter?
The thing is though, like with Alvarez, is that he's convinced me already. Like I feel like when Alvarez came to City and I was seeing what was happening with our striker department in terms of like who we got, I wanted Alvarez. I think Alvarez is quality. And you see it in the Premier League, and we've seen it consistently now, season after season. I think you could make that same argument for Osimhen if he didn't have the bad patch last season. I think it's instilling doubt into people, including myself.
But you're only convinced by, and I think a lot of people, Chelsea fans, will think like you. You're only convinced by Alvarez because you've actually seen him play. If this happened this summer, Chelsea said we're gonna spend money on an unknown Argentinian teenager and he's going to be a starting striker, you guys would be like, who's this kid? Why are we doing this? Why don't we just go buy Gyökeres or Osimhen, who's proven right now? Why are we spending money on a 19-year-old to be a striker or starting striker? You guys would be questioning it because it's Man City and they do it. It's all fine. Man City, they got Alvarez, but they also spent 100 million on a proven goal scorer in Haaland to be the right guy. So why can't we do that? We have our Alvarez and Jackson, not the same level, but we have our Alvarez. Now go get me my Haaland.
But the big question is, it just depends on the owners if they're gonna accept the 120 million cross. I know, I understand, Prime, you want it, but but it
doesn't have to mean. I'm not talking about it has to be Osimhen. Go get me Gyökeres.
True.
But that's where that's where the nervousness comes in, because prior to this season, who the fuck was Gyökeres, right? Prior to last season, and I'm not speaking for you, Prime. I know you've been following this guy's career for a while now. But prior to last season, who the fuck was Victor Osimhen? So I think a lot of it comes with the fact that, one, right, these are names that only just recently popped out, right? There's not an established, like Haaland. We knew who Haaland was 3 seasons or 2 seasons prior to him coming to Man City. Everyone was looking at him, and we wanted him. So that I understand. But hold on, let me just land this, because there's a second point to this. The second point to this is that, and I know there's way too much emphasis on this, but to a certain extent, there is some validity to it. The thing with Alvarez versus Osimhen, for example, one, not only the price tag, obviously. The price tag, I would assume, is cheaper. Second, and actually a third one, but second, the resale value. Sure. Third is that we've seen Alvarez do it in the Prem, whereas we've kind of have a history with players from the Serie A not translating over. Not to say he's only from Serie A. I know he had Ligue 1 experience as well, but there have been players from Serie A that just doesn't translate well to the Premier League. And there's a little bit of PTSD with me for that.
Okay. So the 3 points you just quickly, the 3 points you made, so I can rebut them. You said him translating.
The second one was
Serie A.
price tag. The third one was translating from Serie A, and the first one being that he's just cheaper. Alvarez, he would be cheaper, I would assume.
But so you got Alvarez for cheap, but they also spent big money on the proven guy. You talked about like no one knew who like Osimhen and Gyökeres were a couple of years ago, but a couple of years before City bought Haaland, this guy was playing at Salzburg, and no one knew who he was. So that's kind of the same logic there.
It's not though. It's not. You know, it's not.
It is, but it is
because Haaland, like people. Okay, at Salzburg, Haaland kind of made his name known. Then he went to Dortmund, and he was at Dortmund for 2 seasons where in those 2 seasons that he was there, he was the absolute shining rock star of that team. He was that team he carried that team pretty much throughout those 2 seasons. Not to discredit Sancho and other players, but like he was the mainstay. People wanted him even in those 2 years.
And the same thing about Osimhen, because he was bought from Lille for about 75 million. Napoli spent big money on him, and he comes to Napoli and he is their star player ahead of the likes of Caradonna and Kim Min-jae. He is their star and led them to a title. So there's a same logic there.
But that's where I'm getting at. Like, you say it's the same logic, but where I was trying to get at is that prior to that breakout season where he wins the Scudetto with Napoli and he achieves the numbers that he achieves, I want to say 80% of football fans didn't actually know who the hell Victor Osimhen was. Whereas with Haaland, they knew who he was. They had the first season with Dortmund where he made his name stay for sure. And then he did it again the following season in Champions League and so on. And then he goes on to move on to Man City. By that second season, that's where people were like, yo, this guy's real.
Marshall, the season before Napoli won the league, they were in a title race and they should have won it. The only reason why they didn't is because Osimhen got injured in, I think, December or January, and then Napoli.
That's not my point. My point is the name recognition. I just don't think people knew who Osimhen was prior to him having the season that he had.
No. Osimhen transferred for like 70 million. People knew who he was.
Okay, well, people did. Exactly, people did know you. But okay, even if you say they didn't, the point kind of still stands regardless. Like, not many people knew Haaland at Salzburg until he started scoring in the Champions League at Salzburg. And then he went to Dortmund instead of a big club, just like Osimhen went from Lille to Napoli. And I'm not comparing them in terms of I'm not saying they're the same players. I'm not saying Osimhen is on Haaland's level, but I'm saying they're top quality strikers on the market that we can go and get. Why are we going to take another risk that we just spent a risk on Jackson? Why do we want to take another risk? Go get the proven guy.
It's not. It's cost effective. That's why.
But okay, so it's going to cost a lot of money to get proven players. I don't see the problem.
Yeah,
I think what they don't want to do is what they've done with Enzo and Caicedo, where they spend too much on 2 midfielders that cost us 200 something million.
And the thing is too, we'd have to break the transfer record again to get Osimhen.
No, I agree. So go get Gyökeres then. Or trust Jackson for another season. I'm all for trusting Jackson. Like, again, I get the people are worried about the price. So and that's why I'm saying I'm cool with using Jackson and Datro Fofana for another season. I'm cool with that. That makes sense to me if you guys are so worried about the price. What doesn't make sense to me is let's not get Osimhen or Gyökeres, but let's spend what will Sesko cost, like 45 million on another maybe striker when we have a striker at home that's a maybe striker. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense in the sense of flipping it for profit in the future. That's about it.
But what would it be a flip for profit if Sesko doesn't do well? You're not flipping him for profit.
We just wasted 60 minutes for Sesko.
But that's the thing. Like, you're bringing in Sesko assuming that he's going to do well if you've done your proper scouting. Which, like I said, when it comes to this recruitment, I don't think they've had many fumbles in terms of the scouting. Yeah, you can say maybe Mudryk, who questionably may have been a Boli signing, if anything. And then you can say we overpaid for Caicedo, we overpaid for Enzo.
Yeah.
But we're not
maybe Disasi.
Bro, why do people think we're gonna flip Cole Palmer?
No, because I think he's really good.
Okay, so by that same logic, let me go spend a striker. Let me go buy Gyökeres, who is really good. So if he costs 100 mil, who cares? Because we're not going to flip him. Okay, 55 mil for Haaland, whatever. The point still stands. If you buy a quality player that comes in, you're not going to have to flip him. That's not a worry in your head.
But then,
hold on. Gaming, I just gotta mute you because you're doing. There's a lot of static coming from your end.
Is that right now?
You're good now.
What I'm saying is, if you want to get Gyökeres for 100 million, then let's be real. How much is the wages going to be if you want the same amount of wages as, just say, let's give an example, like Osimhen, like 100 something or 200?
Did you hear that, Brian?
Sorry, what? Repeat what you said.
So I basically said, if we get Gyökeres for 100 million,
yeah.
What about if the wages are going to be similar to Osimhen's? Then they're going to say no. Let's just go get Alvarez or Sesko. Just give an example.
I'm cool with Alvarez because I think he's off the quality, but it's when you're telling me let's go get Sesko, who is much cheaper, but also not good enough in terms of a player yet. He's a maybe player. We already have a maybe player in Jackson.
And I also think they don't want to break the record again, what they did with Caicedo and Enzo. They want to break.
That's fine. So, like, if we were buying Jackson this summer with the season he just had, he would cost as much as Sesko. He would cost 65 million as well, right? Yeah. So, we have a 65 million pound striker, and he's not good enough to be our starting guy. So, get me a guy that is good enough. And this is where they have to do their. If they're telling me that both Osimhen and Gyökeres are too expensive, they can do their research then and go scout properly, and find me a guy that is.
Yeah, go and get Cole Palmer and strike him.
Thank you. I'm not saying we have to spend a lot of money, but don't tell me the alternative to that is Sesko, who is not better than what we have.
I understand that, but it's just, again, we go back to what we were saying before. It's the potential. We're paying for the potential, and if the scouting does their job properly, then that potential will pay off. And in the long run, if Sesko were to ever leave, we can flip him for 80 or 100 to seeing how the striker market's going.
I was at 100k at Man City a week.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I think Alvarez, if you're getting Alvarez for 70, I mean, it would be fine margins if you were to flip him for profit in the future, if sell him for 100, because he is still really young. I think how old is he? He's only
20 something.
24. He's 24. Yeah. So
why are you? If he does well, why are you thinking about selling him?
I'm not thinking about selling him. Listen, if he does well, I'd rather keep him.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, our ownership has already proven that they want to buy cheap for the most part. You know, obviously, we know players like Enzo and Caicedo are here for the long run. They're not here for a flip and a profit. But
they're buying cheap for players that have potential. So in the future, they can be playing at, like, they're buying. Reword this. They're buying talented players for cheaper before they become the next big thing. They're finding the Enzo before he becomes Enzo, so we don't have to spend 100 million at Benfica or spend 100 million at Brighton, which is fine. And that makes sense. So if you don't want to go and spend the money on Osimhen or Gyökeres like we had to do at Enzo and Caicedo, then we have Jackson. And I'm cool with using Jackson.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But I'm not cool with spending money on Sesko. I'm not cool with spending money on Sesko when he's not better than Jackson. I don't care what anyone tells me.
Maybe he's not better than Jackson, but, you know, I'm trying to see how I can, like, you know, kind of phrase this or even flip this in a way where, like, it makes sense. Let's say he's not better than Jackson. For 40 mil, you're really not losing that much money to potentially flip this player for 60 or something. Like, he definitely has potential to be a good player. He doesn't have to be better than Jackson. Jackson could end up being better than him next season, and then we just spend 40 for a bench player. But other clubs will see the potential, like an Arsenal that already sees the potential in this guy or whoever, and they will come in and buy him. I just think there is this notion of, yes, we're going to buy players that are going to be good, right? But we're also keeping in mind that if we're going to buy them cheap, because that way it's not as risky in the long run for us to lose money on that player.
Like, can I say, if we keep Jackson, if we don't get no one, right? And if Jackson gets injured and they decide to play, say, Nkunku up front and he gets injured, then realistically we're screwed. Because if any of our strikers that we have, like the young ones, go on loan, we are generally screwed. Then what do we do after that?
That's why I said that we should keep David Fofana.
But that's what I mean too. Like, I have a feeling, like you just mentioned David Fofana, and I'm glad you did, because I'm going to bring in Washington into this conversation too.
Oh, God.
I think now that we look at these players, it seems more and more that these players are going to be sold for a profit. Like, as much as I disagree, because I think Fofana has a huge, like, a good ceiling, and I would like to see how MARESCA uses him, it looks more and more that he's going to go on another loan and potentially being sold. Like Omari Hutchinson was sold as well, or is going to be sold as well. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
We're going to try to make profit off of these players.
Yeah.
So I think it just seems to me more likely than not, what we're trying to do is to take minimal risk by paying the lower price for potential. If potential doesn't work out, you lose 10 mil, 20 mil, depending on how bad the player is. Like, I don't think Sesko is ever going to go for anything less than 20 mil. But even if we were to get him and he flops, we lost 20 mil on him. Let's just say it hypothetical.
Yeah, and depend on what contract he's on.
Like, let's look at, for example, and I know this is an extreme example, Lukaku. We got for about 80 mil, close to 90 million pounds. We took a huge risk. It didn't work out. And now we're struggling to even get 30 mil for the guy.
We're struggling for like 2 years to sell him.
True. But what happened with Lukaku was there were better strikers. I know, but what I'm saying, but I'm agreeing with you. There were better strikers out there that suited us at the time, even if they like Haaland, Kane, who I wanted at that time, actually would have suited us. We decided to spend that big money on a Lukaku that we knew didn't suit us. It ended up being an even worse situation than it could ever have been possible, and now we can't flip him. So, but that can happen. That could potentially happen with any player. That could happen with a Sesko, where we think we might be able to flip him, but he ends up being the worst situation possible, and he's stuck on our books for 3-4 years. So that's why my thing is, buy the best player possible that we can. If it's not a Gyökeres or it's not an Osimhen, then find me someone that properly suits, that's better than what we have. If he's not better than Jackson by a massive mile, then I'd rather keep Jackson, because in a year or two, we'll be looking at Jackson as one of the best young forwards around. Because right now, the way he ended the season, in my opinion, he is already one of the best in the Prem. He starts for every other team in the top 6, barring City. I don't think that's a disagreement.
I don't think so. He starts for Arsenal. He starts for Spurs. Go ahead, Gaming.
The problem was with Lukaku when he joined in, people were saying he was overweight, he was heavy. That's what the problem was with him, apparently.
No, that guy didn't want to play for the club. Let's be honest. He never wanted to actually come. He got the bag, and the guy's a mercenary. Like, let's be honest. The guy is a freaking mercenary, all right? He has no loyalty to any club. And when you don't have loyalty in any club, you can't expect him to perform at his best, especially when there's no love for him at Chelsea right now.
Marshall,
this guy was chatting so much rubbish about Saudi. Oh, I never want to join Saudi. And then he goes, yeah, I want to join Saudi. It's just
that's
like,
what I mean.
what?
Like, it's not even, yeah.
You know who does have loyalty and wants to play for the club?
Osimhen. Yeah, I get it. This is the thing, though. I understand where you're coming from, Prime, about if we're going to get a striker, let's get someone who is clearly better than Jackson. I get that. And I think where the standstill comes is just that in order for you to get someone who is clear of Jackson, then we're talking about Harry Kane, Haaland, Osimhen. We're talking about like that level of a striker. And at that level of a striker, you're paying big money for it. You're putting him on big wages, which I know someone mentioned, oh, we have Sterling on big wages. What can we do with Osimhen? Yeah, well, Sterling's not supposed to be on big wages. That was a mistake made by Bowley. So I just think the way I see that the board is moving, I just don't think they want to take a big risk on a big name player that would be their marquee signing, which they know is overpriced. They know the release clause is ridiculous, and they know that the wages is too high. I think to take that risk, and if it doesn't pay off, that is huge losses that they're going to be taking versus someone who, could potentially be better than Jackson.
Yeah.
Who, if it doesn't work out, well, you lost 20 million versus, I'm assuming if the worst case scenario, Osimhen comes to Chelsea, we pay 120 for him and he flops, well, his value goes down. We struggle to sell him, and you're probably going to be trying to sell him for what? 80. I'm just being generous now at this point.
I'm not saying 80, I'd say 70 something at least.
Okay.
Like, it's just a big loss.
The first part I would say 75% of what you said. Like, I do agree. Here's my thing. I'm not listen, as much as I personally want Osimhen and I would spend the money, I'm not saying that they should.
Yeah,
I understand the cost.
Even Gyökeres, don't you think, is a little bit expensive too?
Yeah, I think Gyökeres is way too expensive to be 100 mil for having 1 year. But again, he's of the quality it looks like, so I kind of get it. I'm not saying we should spend the money on Osimhen over Gyökeres. I'm not saying that. My point is give Jackson another year, because Sesko. Listen, if I'm Jackson, my first year playing professional football as a starter, I come to Chelsea football clubs where the vast majority of, not the vast majority, but a lot of nines, a lot of strikers have notoriously flopped. Chelsea have had a terrible season, but I still managed to score, 15 goals? And the Premier League, I would be pissed off if you go buy Benjamin Sesko. If you buy Osimhen or you buy Gyökeres, look, hands up, I can't say anything about it. They're better than me.
Sure.
It is what it is. But I'd be pissed off if you're spending money on Sesko. He's not better than me.
We can also agree that we will not get rid of Sterling because our brother's happy sitting on 325k a week.
Bro, Sterling, we're stuck with Sterling because of his wages, exactly.
So we're not getting rid of that brother until he retires at Chelsea.
But to be honest, and this is why Ahmed's a fraud, right? Because he says I want to have an agenda. But to be fair to Sterling, he was our third best attacker this season.
Yeah, he was.
Until he flopped during the middle of the end of the season. He was good.
No, not even. Even when he did. At the end of the season, when you look at the GNA, he was our third best attacker this season.
Fair play to him.
Which isn't good enough. I still think it's not good enough. Yeah.
If I was Jackson, I'd be. If we're spending it on Sesko, if I'm Jackson, I'd be pissed. Everything I've done, my first season playing
I get that
as a starter, professional football, I'd be pissed. But if you're spending it on someone who is better than
yourself, though, Prime.
But you're saying you're right. Prove yourself, but I've already proven that I should be trusted. If you're not going to spend big money, then trust me for another year. Because we can all say Poch didn't do anything as a coach. You bring me an actual coach who knows the level. Like Jackson, I believe he can get 20 goals next season as our starter. I truly believe he can get 20 goals. So by next season, if he's a 20-goal a season striker, all of a sudden we don't need to spend money on Osimhen. We've got one at home.
But Jez, he's responded to this. He thinks that David Datro Fofana should be given a chance to be that second striker. And I don't disagree. Like, you guys, some of you rival fans haven't seen it, but in the little that I've seen of David Datro Fofana when he played at Chelsea, he looked like a promising player. Like, I can see a good player in him. And I think he did score a goal, right? He scored a goal for us before he was just inevitably benched into fucking
no, he didn't.
purgatory.
No, he didn't play. He didn't play at Burnley.
Conference League is too good. Conference League he did play at Burnley. Conference League is too good for Jackson. But Datro Fofana playing in the Conference League, playing against lesser sides.
Yeah. I would like to see that.
I want to. Again,
I agree.
If you're not going to spend the big money, I think we have, because if Jackson and Fofana were at other clubs, those two strikers we would be looking to get as the young development guy. We have those two. If we really wanted Sesko, we should have signed him last summer. Just like I said with Gyökeres, if we really wanted him, we should have signed him last summer when he was at Coventry. And this is my point. We have the next Sesko. We have the next Gyökeres. We have the next Pochettino. Let's use those two guys. Or else,
I mean, it's a sticky situation for us right now.
Talking about wasting money on 100 mil, we've wasted money on Jackson. Oh, hold on, but you're saying we've wasted money to buy Osimhen. To me, the true waste of money is Dasher, Fofana, and Jackson if they're not allowed to develop. That's the true waste of money.
I mean, they're gonna get sold for it. Okay, I'm not gonna say they're gonna get sold, right? If we were to sell them, I think we make profit on them. Like Jackson, 100%, and same thing goes for Fofana. So I don't think it's a waste of money. I think it's a waste of talent.
No, but bro, it is a waste of money because if you factor in how much they get sold for, but you also factor in spending, say, 100 million on Gyökeres, that eventually the money will kind of cancel each other out a bit, and you're wasting money. I'd rather Jackson and Fofana, at least one of them could be one of the next big thing strikers, and all of a sudden we don't need to spend money because we have them at home.
Yeah.
Man United wasted 75 million on Højlund.
Yeah, that's bad.
Strikers who are better than Højlund. That's Fofana
better than Højlund.
Exactly.
So why don't we use the two that we have?
Sorry, this happened. You will. But yeah, listen, I think time is going to tell. I think we just had a brilliant conversation on this whole striker situation and definitely gives perspective on two ends of the spectrum, why we shouldn't get a striker and stick with what we have, or why we should spend heavily, and why I think they're going for Sesko and potentially the transfer of a potential Julian Alvarez. So I think there's a lot of options on there, and we're going to see how it plays out. But that's going to be something that hopefully will be sealed along with Michael Olise this coming Sunday when we discuss the Casually Chelsea show. So big up to everyone. Big up to the panel that joined us today. Big up to everyone who called in. I think this is a good call-in show. I think we had a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different fascinating discussions. I like having these open platform ones where we can just kind of go off and talk about whatever. But I think, for the most part, I think most of us are actually more concerned with the transfers than we are the manager. So I guess it's a good thing, right? So I'll take that. So big up to Enzo Maresca. You won over Chelsea fans already. We're not worried about you. We're worried about the players you're going to get. So
don't worry about Enzo. He'll cook next season. He'll cook.
I hope so. Listen,
I think, really like the conversation that we had. Like, yeah, I don't want people in the chat to think, like, me and Marshall and stuff, like, we're cool. Like, I actually enjoy having these sorts of conversations because it's interesting to know what other people, how other people think and why. So yeah.
Can I just say, by the way, I don't know if this is true, but I saw this that Enzo Maresca said that he thinks this Chelsea squad is good enough to compete for Man City and Arsenal next season.
He hasn't had an interview with the club yet.
If that's true, though, I agree. I genuinely think this team is talented enough, and we saw how close we came. But listen, like, I don't think it's wrong to think that. People are going to think I'm deluded or whatever the fuck, like, even rival fans, right? But, like, I genuinely think this team is talented enough to challenge for the league. Maybe not next season because we need to establish this system and get used to, Maresca. There's still some pieces to the puzzle that need to be fit in. But, like, if you look at how we played against these top teams, tit for tat, we drew against Liverpool in the beginning of the season. Yeah. We nearly beat Arsenal. We should have beaten Arsenal in the first leg of the season, and then they crushed us in the second game.
We got battered by West Ham.
I know,
3-1.
No, I mean, I just I was gonna get to it. We did get crushed in the second game, but we nearly beat them the first game, and we weren't anywhere near the favorites. So let's just say we would have been 1-1 in the tie there. Tottenham, we did the double over them. Man City, they didn't. We took points off of them twice.
Yeah.
So, like, I think this team, with proper coaching, with a proper system, and proper development, can actually compete for the league. We've seen how good they can be at their best. So I don't think it's deluded to say, bro, we can compete. So
it's not deluded, but, like, I want to know the full quote I want to know exactly how he said it. However, like, you're not wrong. We've got the talent, but coming right out and saying we're good enough to challenge, the media, Chelsea fans and rivals will hold that against you by December when we're off the pace. What he should have said was, we've got the talent, and in 2-3 years, you guys will see that we can be on that level.
It wouldn't surprise me next year if people by December say, "Oh well, Enzo out by December."
Yeah, obviously, there's always going to be those fans, though.
But with how volatile our fan base is and how volatile,
that's a given.
He should have just been more careful. But however,
But the
I
thing is,
respect
though,
the ambition. But
it's on the
talk is cheap.
directors.
Poch said the same thing when he came in about how Chelsea's history and how that we should always be challenging and winning. And all of a sudden, he's complaining about.
Yeah, because Poch was telling the truth.
But that's the thing. I don't want, like, talk is cheap. You know, don't have all this chest, and all of a sudden you're gonna cower away.
I just don't want Enzo to expose our players like Poch did, and his weaknesses.
Well, again, he shouldn't, because that
he shouldn't.
We're assuming that was a priority in the recruitment process of the manager.
Yeah.
Listen, deep down inside, we all know that Pochettino was playing Enzo with a hernia just to show off that he was right about Enzo and he's not good enough for Chelsea, just so he can get Gallagher. We all know that's the truth, but you guys don't want to admit it because
by
you
the
don't
way,
have a platform.
Have you guys seen the in regards to the Argentine squad for the Olympic Games? Did you guys see that Poch told Enzo he was allowed to go to?
Yeah, well, Poch is a
Bro
fraud.
wanted him out. Like, is that not evidence enough? Bro wanted him out.
He's a fraud.
Oliver's a believer. Poch plotted this from the beginning.
But Enzo's not
Poch purposely played Enzo with an injury to make him look bad, so they can convince the board to get him out.
Oh,
Marshall, I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying Poch told Enzo he was allowed to go to the Argentine squad for the Olympics. When the
all to make him look worse for Chelsea fans and to force him out.
No, to basically push him away. Because he didn't want to.
Let me have my agenda, Oliver.
Oh gosh.
No,
tinfoil hat.
I back you on that. I back you on that, just like you back me on it.
Screw you, Poch. I'm glad you're gone.
Thank goodness.
Hope unemployment is good
we
for you.
got done by a bunch of NPCs in a Carabao Cup final.
Hope you get booed at Soccer Aid, you fraud.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Marshall, what is
he gets Frank Lampard.
Marshall, what's that unemployment thing called in America?
Unemployment?
No, not that. It's
welfare.
No.
Called unemployment, as far as I was aware.
Well, it was when you're part of like the housing system or something.
Oh, affordable housing.
You're saying the same thing I'm saying.
I think it's welfare, though. I think it's welfare.
Is there not a particular word?
I think he's right. I think it's welfare.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, man.
Hey, Poch, enjoy welfare, man.
Mauricio, I can't. I still have to get the I am not a clown on the soundboard. I might work on that after the stream is over. But ladies and gents, we're going to wrap it up. Been a good show. Big up to everyone on the panel. Big up to everyone who came in today. The raid message is there. We're going to be rating. We're going to be rating United Spurs of America. Big up to Jacob and everything he does. He's not streaming as often as he used to because he's got a kid. So show some love, show some support by going on the channel, telling him where you're coming from. And yeah, I'm pretty sure, unless something big happens, I'm pretty sure the next stream will be on Sunday. We're going to do another Casually Chelsea show. We're going to wrap up all the news that's been going on in recent days and go from there. We'll see what happens. Hopefully by then we'll have Elise done. We'll have a striker done. Maybe even a goalkeeper done. Who knows? But time will tell. Maybe we'll actually get some quotes from Enzo MARESCA. Maybe we'll talk about some of the Euros results as well as Copa America doesn't start yet. So maybe we'll talk about some of the Euros results. So there you go, guys. No Marshall, we'll see you on Friday. Why will you see me on Friday? Because you'll be on my Patreon, right? Because I'm going to stream on my Patreon. If you guys don't know, I have a Patreon where I do gaming. That's down below in the description. Check it out if you love me.
Your Patreon to see you naked.
I mean, some people will.
Oh,
because you're not a supportive friend doesn't mean I don't have other supportive friends.
I have to be your friend.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Let's not continue this conversation. Anyways, ladies and gents, we'll see you over on the raid to United Spurs of America. Let Jacob know where you're coming from. Copy and paste this raid message right here. And we'll see you again for the Casually Chelsea show. Thanks to everyone that came on. As always, have a wonderful night.
Enzo will win the
Stay
Premier League with
casual,
Chelsea next season.
and peace out.